Go. I'm surprised that you managed to stop laughing in the pre-game before I started the recording going. I thought the sweet, serene, and scary giggler of spooky season would emerge into the revival of bringing tears like all scary things do. Happy Halloweeny. It's
Happy
nasty time.
Balloweeny.
Once again, we're back. We're here to argue, me and my beautiful friends, about horror tropes. Like sex equals death, which I'm important to say so that it says sex in the first 5 minutes of the video, and then people get scared.
So they love us.
And it's important
People,
to say
and by people I mean
fuck
robots.
in the first minute so we don't get monetized.
I will never
We
accept
don't get
monetization.
monetized.
This is our glorious arguing and friendship show. We make a collective opinion about all sorts of kooky garbage, and we love it so. We reign tremendous over the mountain of filth. I didn't know if I was going to do it. I think it should be done. Please, introduce yourselves. Not everyone watched the Metal Gear Solid 1 playthrough. They're not so intimately acquainted with all of us. Probably in voice chat order. Make thy names known.
What is the voice chat order?
I
Oh my
can't
god.
look. I'm too busy recording my screen.
It's June 1st. June is in voice chat order. June is 1st.
I'm June. I'm kind of like the Rick and Morty of this whole situation. It's my great pleasure to have us talk about movies and their failings, and also their great successes. I know. Okay. I flip a coin, Harvey Dent style, every day to decide if I'm an ambitionless pubescent boy or a enormously depressed skeleton.
No, it's not ambitionless. He wrote a whole script.
We get some later.
I am Matthew. I'm next in the voice chat order. Well, if June is Rick and Morty, then I am The Office.
This is good. This is good. I don't think we're going to run out of situational comedies that aren't by Graham Linehan, who we hate soon, so let's keep doing this.
Oh God, I'm next.
No, next is actually Fake Emily.
Don't worry about Fake Emily.
Well,
don't worry about Fake Emily.
Necessary machine. Like this website, Tiermaker. Thank you, Tiermaker. You're a character too. Go on.
I don't know in what voice chat order is Tiermaker going to present themselves.
Don't worry about Tiermaker. It's a machine. Machines don't have rights. They never will. I won't permit it.
Well, Jom is next.
Oh God.
I thought you were going to say, well, John's machine.
No,
John, everyone's a machine. We're talking through computers.
I'm John, and if I had to say I'm any sort of comedy, I would call myself the Grave of the Fireflies of the group. For the smiles and laughter.
I call myself the shakes my single candy in my sad tin while I melt guy. I've long thought that it's my responsibility to walk the earth scorchingly and so alone.
I mean, he has no one else left.
Big fan of jokes.
What is he gonna do it
my
with?
Innocence so ravaged by the demands of the spider that was in my car earlier. A story you told before we got into this. It was right there on the windshield.
You know what the story is? There was a spider, and it was in my car, and it fell. And I was like, wow.
I can't do anything about this lest I crash and die on the highway, and it's probably not worth it.
If I make any significant movements, somebody will die. Possibly a family of 5.
Yeah.
Who's next?
And you learn a beautiful lesson there about killing the spider, and when you go on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. One very small.
To fit at least 5 spiders. Hi, I'm Mel. Other people might know me as God, depending on how much you watch of this channel. Other than that, I'm not comedy.
Oh.
I don't do comedy.
Oh,
I am funny, but I don't watch comedy.
Oh. She's beyond it.
She's planes, trains, and automobiles.
She's kind of like planes, trains, and automobiles.
You're not fucking there.
You remember when movies would just have like an extremely bad cartoon spawn out of them? Like Ghostbusters and its 3 seasons of cartoon.
I've heard some people like the cartoon.
I loved the goth girl.
Oh, whatever.
Okay, she's from the sequel cartoon. I've heard less good things about the sequel cartoon.
Yeah, Matthew, you Poindexter. You bespectacled buffoon. It's just always goth girl. They're too scary. I guess if there ever was a month that was gonna happen, it was gonna happen this time.
Your love interest is a self-proclaimed witch.
I mean, that doesn't define anything, you know?
Fair enough.
Labels are silly. You can't put those on people. You sound like some of the religious imagery they put in these.
Well, that lovely laugh is Emily, non-fake this time.
Yeah.
The real one.
Hi, I'm Emily. I've never been on this channel before, but I have done other stuff on YouTube with June and Matthew before. And if I was any kind of comedy, I would say that I am Transformers comedy.
Why didn't you say she was the divine comedy? It's a literary reference. It's so smart.
Yeah.
What?
The divine comedy. It has comedy in the name, even though it isn't funny.
But it's not. It's not comedy at all.
I think it's all comedy a little. I think there's.
It's unlike Grave of the Fireflies.
It's comedy
hilarious.
The cosmic sense.
Like, they called it comedy because it was like it has a good ending. And that was the classification of comedy at the time.
You know what? I believe you about endings. Let's start in the most...
Comedies all end in weddings, and tragedies all end in funerals.
Hello, funeral fans. What do we think about the way, so often in horror, that a sweet squealing girl is left blood-soaked to be the only survivor of any of it?
I love that.
But I love it, though.
Yeah, I think I put it there too, because like it can be pretty good, but it can also be nothing. So I would say it's in the second tier.
I love it.
I think
point of it. It's kind of like a self-created trope, almost on a level devoid of so many of the emotions inherent to other things, like falling on a tree branch. The girl survives to the end because in Halloween and in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the girl survived to the end.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just what you do. Go on.
I think it developed meaning every time that
Jamie Lee Curtis did this to us.
Yeah. But like being the final girl is kind of like a concept now. It's not that you have to be a girl. It's just the last person that fights with everything they have and develops into something different.
Something
through the movie and get out of it.
Yeah, something I think is very necessary for the final girl is this idea that in this blood-soaked crucible you can find survival, the ability to live and to protect against this oncoming threat. Like, final girls that I believe her name was Nancy Holbrook from Nightmare on Elm Street. Laurie Strode, definitely. She kept that those two children very safe. Ripley with her cat.
It's like finding power and like self-reliance in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
I think.
I admire that. I admire what it's capable of doing. I've not often found it to be so purposeful, but I suppose then in looking back on some of the greats. Oh, please.
It feels like something that kind of like has just formed out of necessity, of like story necessity of yes, there has to be a final girl, I guess, or a final character usually, but I do feel horror tends to have a lot more female protagonists. So it's just like, yeah, if you're going to do a story and you don't want to end completely dire, then yeah. Like, I feel like it's hard to rank a trope like that because it just depends on how good your movie is. In this case, especially.
I suppose so. I guess I can see that. It's like if your movies suck, even if you have the final girl. I think the final girl is something that you have to develop on purpose. Like, there needs to be evolution of the character.
Yeah,
for it to be a good final girl. It's not just a guy survive, like someone survives till the end.
I forgot
Would
what
know.
her name was, but the girl with the with the coconut head, or like whatever that hairstyle's called, from
I believe
Friday the
that's
13th.
Rowley from the Wimpy
Yeah,
Kid series.
The girl with the Rowley hair. The girl with the Rowley hair.
What
From
movie?
Friday the 13th. Like, how... Wow, did the door just open to
There's a
wicked
scary
creature's
ghost.
basement?
That was
Oh,
my chair creaking as
It's
I
part
leaned
of
back.
the horror flavor.
It's
You
a
should be
scary
thanking
chair.
her.
Yeah,
Thank you.
What if I just put like scary SFX free over this video intermittently? That sounds
I mean,
great.
you know you should. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that you should definitely.
My-
I remember
I can
David
send
said
you, like-
that I don't edit these ones at all. So leave it to Matthew.
Well,
Yeah.
well, Matthew, you're doing. I'm gonna send you like recordings of my every inch, because every inch in my house squeaks. and
Okay.
Make sure the
Yells.
Creative Commons attribution only.
Yep.
It's mine, so
Oh well, make it a
Like
Creative
mine.
Commons attribution only license those recordings of your house.
Yeah.
With
wanna
Tricky
give back to the
Terror is in the
community.
legal obligations.
Anywho, I like this trope a lot. I know it can be used poorly. That's why I'm willing to go as low as but I love it though.
I think there's a lot of power that can come out of it. Alien and
Yeah.
Aliens, particularly, like, absolutely astonishing films, and very precisely need there to be a final woman, capital W, who survives those.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Ellen. If anybody needs to be specifically a woman and not a girl, it's Ellen Ripley.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she's
Like
the
I'm
coolest
usually
person.
pretty like I usually do not particularly care about that distinction, but in Ellen Ripley's case, yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna go for presuming final agreement.
Yeah.
But I love it though.
Yes.
I
Thank
think
you.
peak
Thank you, yes.
cinema will come out clearly enough that we won't need to question it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
What
while
is
we're
that?
speaking about peak cinema, I'm gonna take
Yeah.
us into He's Down. Let's leave.
I hate that. I hate
movie?
that. I hate that.
I
God,
love
Jesus.
it. It's so funny.
I hate it. I hate it. I think it should die. I think it's so much that it's not even funny anymore. It's like you bonked him once. You saw that thing got through so much, and you think bonking it once is gonna keep it down. You dumb. It's like it's that, and like when they leave whichever weapon they have behind. It's like why are you even? Like, are you trying?
That's
Do
why I
you
love
want
that.
to survive?
In Tremors, there's 4 monsters. They don't have this problem because when it's down, it actually is down. The problem is that there's still just more of them.
It's like one hit, but like then you have to fight with the rest of them.
I recently watched the first Friday the 13th movie, /
Yeah.
wasted my time watching the first Friday the 13th movie.
Right.
And literally
Right.
no less than 4 times is the slasher in that movie knocked on their ass, concussed, and then left behind so the surviving
And I'm
girl
like-
can daintily
Power Mom.
walk somewhere else. I know.
Power Mom.
She power
Can I
walks from
say-
Power Mom, and guess what? Power Mom's grief survives. She gets up and stabs you again, and you hit her again and walk away again. It demeans the story, this one.
It's hilarious,
it's
though.
too many. And no, because it's
Okay.
too much.
Okay,
It's too much.
will
How
admit,
many times do
it's-
I have to hit an elderly woman?
I will admit there are some cases where it really gets out of hand. Friday the 13th probably being among them. But I mean, think about it like. Actually, I've just realized the exact thing I was going to say isn't that trope. Okay.
Oh wait, yeah,
Well,
no,
let
this
me-
trope
let
is
me-
without value. Yeah.
Yeah, it does suck. Because, like, if it is too much in one of the points where it spawned from, then maybe it's just not good. Thoughts?
I remembered something very interesting when I was watching Alien, 1979's Alien for the first time. I remember thinking, why am I mad at these people for being scared of the xenomorph? And a little bit with this trope in its defense, I'm like, why am I mad at them for not being willing to kill this unconscious person? Because it's like a hard thing to do. Yeah. But I'm so incensed by the pragmatic uselessness of just like moving on after getting a good hit in that I forget to think about the character's feelings, which is really damning.
But like, may I say though?
Oh yeah, well, it's usually the premise of the show. May I say? You better loudly.
I will. I can't. I'm not gonna speak louder in this. It's 3 a.m.
Scary hour.
Witching hour.
Yes. It's usually when you get to the point of hitting them and downing them. Let's say that. Let's use fucking Dead by Daylight terms.
Oh, thanks. I'm gonna slug you in this lobby, killer.
It's because they've already been through enough. You know, I think just the feeling of anger and, fight or flight, almost, survival instinct is like, I want to make sure that this thing, whatever it is, a person, a killer, a monster, fucking Jesus Christ, stays down. Because I'd like to live. Because I've been through an hour 30 of movie, and I'd like to now leave.
Mel brings up a good point. Jesus Christ might be the first, time this was used.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm gonna throw rocks at you.
They did!
Just like with him, yeah.
They did.
Well, segue like, I've no other time to get here. Religious imagery. Stifling and spooky stories wherein there's a cross potentially inverted.
I'd say but I love it though. Religious imagery can be so fucking good in horror stuff, especially.
My favorite brand of movies is horror, and my favorite brand of horror is exorcism movies or possession movies.
Just girly things.
Just girly things. I love when I get to see my girly pop crawl on the ceiling. Personally, when she's vomiting on top of a priest, girl.
I like to see my girly pop imitate the crucifixion of Christ.
I
love to see my girly pop speak in inhumane tongues.
I think religious imagery was brought to its apotheosis in Hellraiser 3, where Pyramid Head...
Wrong P head.
Pyramid Head.
Oh, fuck.
Wrong P boy.
Wrong torture creature.
Pinhead has chased Jadzia Dax into a church. And...
I know it is Jadzia Dax, but it's still so funny to call her that.
Yeah. And the priest is like, you can't be here, this is hallowed ground. And he, stands at the pulpit and he looks at the stained window of the crucifixion, and he's like, oh. And he takes out one of the nails from his head, which are 9-inch coffin nails, and a piece of his brain. I need to take a pill.
I was just remembering that bit in Netflix Castlevania where the demon mauls the priest in the church. Is like that your church does not protect you because your God doesn't give a shit about what you're saying.
Here. Yeah, because your God doesn't love you. We do though.
Because you're
I'm not a monster fucker. I'm not a monster fucker.
What you're saying has nothing to do with God.
And it's beautiful.
So good. I'm not a monster fucker, but both Pinhead and that weird wolf creature in Castlevania, so hot in that moment, in those moments.
She says it's true.
He takes the pin and he puts it through his hand and takes another one and puts it through his other hand and then feeds them the piece of brain. It puts the piece of brain in the priest's mouth and is like, take food from my flesh. This is your divine sacrament.
So good. So good.
Yeah. I will, however, say religious imagery, I think, can be quite often overused to a point of almost pointlessness. Like, I get that religion is like a beacon of safe for a lot of people. But
alternatively, one of the most consistent systems of oppression faced by a person. I like movies that deal with religious imagery so as to provide an additional kind of stifling onto our protagonist.
Yeah.
Wherein they are being pursued by a big bad guy, but everyone is in so many ways being spiritually pursued by the right way to be, and it's just a different kind of constricting prison, a little more than knife through you. You know, we worship the guy who got the nails through him. The guy who stabbed the very important guy through the side as he got the nails in him is himself a creature of mythology. There's this kind of fetishization of the blood and the terror that keeps you adherent to its demands that I think is sort of permanently relevant in putting religious imagery in it. Sometimes it happens for no reason at all, but so does everything.
So does everything.
Sometimes it just happens, and it's like an excuse for like make it spookier, because you know, the cross turned upside down. The demon.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who does not get tired of things very easily. So I don't care that religious imagery is sometimes overused. It still always gets me.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, it's happening. It's at some again. My favorite movies are exorcism movies. So the religious imagery is there because of you know, you can't do it without.
It's
for a good metaphor.
You know, I think for just the fact that it can be too much and like kind of overused and like kind of lose its meaning, is like it's just there because you need it almost. As an example, it's like, yes, this is a horror movie.
I heard the sentence start. No, you are not abandoned.
Yes, please. I need to get this out before I explode. Like, crucifixes working against vampires. Why?
Because it's awesome.
I Am Legend explores that a bit. Yeah, because they're unholy is the thing. And in I Am Legend, there's like a fun bit where it's like, it depends on what religion the person had when they were still alive. So like, his Jewish neighbor is much more affected by Jewish imagery than Christian imagery.
I love
that. Mel Blanc's, I believe it's History of the World, there's a joke where like he's playing Dracula and Van Helsing's trying to kill him with a crucifix. It's like, my ancestors were Jewish! And then, I forget whether it's a Star of David or like literally a swastika, but like he screams as soon as he sees the vampire hunter take it out.
Jesus.
John, back to you.
Oh goodness. I think that religious imagery like does like hold a very strong emotional core for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people have grown up with going to church or like going to following whatever religion you have, so it has a very like it's rooted in your childhood. It's something that used to be safe, and turning that on its head makes it more like fundamentally scary, I think.
Plus, it was in Neon Genesis Evangelion, which means it needs to go into cinema.
True.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
For a good metaphor with Transformers. So my favorite movie of all time is the 1986 Transformers movie. And I regularly like to refer to that movie as the Transformers Bible. And as such, lots of other Transformers media loves to reference that movie. And I know so many other hardcore Transformers fans are so fucking sick of that. Like, they're like, oh my god, another fucking Transformers 86 reference. We get it, it's a good movie, blah, blah, blah. I never get tired of it. Like, I get where they're coming from, but I never get tired of it.
Yeah, no, I get you. Because again, it's everywhere in my favorite movies, and it's hard to do a horror movie without some religious imagery, I feel like.
Yeah, it's hard to make a movie
relevant.
without it.
Plays
Yeah,
into a
'cause
fear
it's
of
like-
hell.
Yes. It's so much everywhere.
Mhm.
So,
I know. I was thinking about a movie that brings great terror and dread to me. That's like hard to even look at. Batman v Superman, which utilizes this
please, no, go.
quite a bit, and that is a little bit. That's an example of when it gets a little exhausting.
Yes.
When you're a little too on the fucking nose about like this character is Jesus or this is Satan, blah blah blah. I don't make that too much of the focus. Maybe, well, or it depends on the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of
Understand
Maybe
it's
horror.
not on your
Maybe.
Superman movie.
Yeah.
The issue there is that the religious imagery there was very, very tacky and lazy.
It can be
The
very
Zack
tacky and
Snyder
lazy, or
classic.
very fucking good.
You
I
know
don't
what?
know.
You know what is something about the Jesus imagery in whatchamacallit, in Batman vs Superman, and I
Speak
swear
now
this.
on religious imagery or ever hold your peace. It's already in the list.
No,
Get it
I
out
know
of your
this
system.
is. It was a segue.
Oh, I didn't believe in you. I'm sorry.
There's like, and I believe this was Nostalgia Critic that made this meme, but like a very fun meme I like of where Superman is literally in the crucifixion pose in space.
I know this. Sequel.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go with the "I am Jesus, I
yeah.
am," which
That's
that
the
is
audio
Nostalgia
is-
Critic.
Yeah, that's the audio that's over that scene.
Yeah,
Like that Nostalgia
you didn't
Critic
mention that
audio.
part. Was the thing?
Yeah, sorry.
Sequels in space. Here are some horror movies in space.
Jason
Jason
X,
X.
so peak cinema.
Hellraiser
it.
4. Leprechaun in space. Amityville House in space. And there's a lot of these. It's a
Alien.
weirdly easy place for the
Alien
scary
2.
to go. Alien,
Alien
2.
3.
Alien.
Well,
The Alien was always in space.
Yeah.
there's the Hellraiser one too.
There's
Yeah, he
Star
mentioned
Trek,
that.
the major motion picture, if you're scared of being bored for 2 hours.
Oh, fuck you. It's, hey,
I
there's
am
a
very scared of
real
that. I am very
thing
scared of
that
that.
gave me an irrational fear. That movie scared me as a child.
Anyway,
It
I'm a
made
big
me fall
fan of
asleep,
being
though.
creatively desperate enough to just put it in space because it's very different than the other things, and I think space is very fun.
Did
It has-
Leprechaun go to space?
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Love that.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I think
I-
the problems presented by being in space are very fun. You know, in traditional
Yeah.
spooky movie, there's the hypothetical ideal of literally just run long enough and you'll get away with it. In space, you can't. Where you
Yeah.
are is where you're going to stay with that guy. Lest you get some risky
And in
escapes
space,
out there.
no one can hear you scream.
And in space, no one can hear you scream. I can in the
Yeah,
cinema,
no one
as long
can
as they're
hear
not
you.
doing artful directing.
Which we also, I personally dislike. Anyway,
Whoa.
don't be too artsy. Don't pretend. Don't be Skinamarink.
One of the best movies ever.
Oh, I have a friend who's like really into Skinamarink,
They're a genius.
and she's really into artsy stuff in general.
She should be.
I can't. But no one can hear you scream in the middle of nowhere either. Did you hear many people, like, did you feel like many people heard the people in Texas Chainsaw Massacre scream?
Okay, literally, Nubbins gets, like, atomized by a truck driver. Like, that
Yeah,
wouldn't
but,
have
like-
It
happened
does
in
not happen in
space.
Hellraiser 4. It only happens in TCM. Though I would like a rowdy truck driver to just completely screw up the Leprechaun's experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
You
can't
only hit
do
me
space.
with a truck because my magic was shite.
I don't know. I feel like it's cheap.
I think
It does often herald the death of a franchise.
Because like there's literally nowhere else to go, but we still want to milk this dead horse.
I feel
It's the thing is, like, if you're going to milk a dead horse, this is a good way to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
I
genuinely
don't believe that.
Hold me to the coals here. Literally, in my opinion, the best movie from the slasher genre, the best slasher film in existence, is an in-space sequel, and that is Jason X.
Yeah, I brought up Jason X earlier, and that's why I was thinking Peak Cinema. Because Jason X is so good.
Jason X has everything, like, everything everybody says, hey, they should be doing that in a horror movie. They do. And it's incredible. It's fantastic. And it's made possible through the nature of space and sci-fi technology every step of the way. I believe in space is what you make of it. And I think that a lot of movies have done some pretty meh with it, but I think the ones that have stood out with it have stood out so wonderfully. Like, think about how cool that scene is in Hellraiser 4, where the space station itself folds into a gigantic lament configuration.
Yeah, but think about the rest of the movie. Tell me you liked the rest of the movie, because that I will punch that movie. I will punch it.
Oh yeah, it gets Pinhead very, very wrong, but I feel like
and it's like, oh look, a cool female character, and it's like, no, actually, she's important for 0.2 seconds, and then she gets stomped on by Pinhead.
These seem like issues unrelated to the space, though.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with the space
it's
part.
It's not related to space, but like,
can we please keep our discussion
the movie's not good.
I do feel the apex of the conversations that's happening between us is that the space things are, no matter what, a suicidal zenith. Yeah. It is impossible to put the space thing back in the bottle.
Yeah.
If it's good, yay. If it's bad, alright. Either way, it's really hard to ever not go, remember when they went to space the whole time? It's very fantastical and demanding.
Yeah. Power Rangers did something very funny where they went to space. They went to space, and for the next couple seasons, they decided to keep going to space because they were scared of putting space back in the bottle. But eventually they realized, we're not getting enough out of space, we need to put space back in the bottle for now. And so they did, and it turned out to work out fine. But the fact that they were so afraid to put space back in the bottle because they were so afraid of this exact problem is hilarious.
I feel like space is where the franchise goes to die.
Yeah, Power Rangers got lucky.
This is very interesting. Yeah. I don't know if any of these tiers very properly befit this.
Yeah.
Now, you asked me in the pre-game if there was a world where we invent new tiers therein. What do you all think?
I love new tiers.
He loves new tiers.
He loves new. What's the name of the new tier?
I love to put new tiers in the list.
Space, the final frontier.
That is so specific. That will never get another entrance. That is a bad idea. So? I'm mad at you.
You have tiers that are just for one thing.
Some of them are like that. We can put as many as we want.
We can have tiers that are just one thing, if it's a particularly notable thing.
Everything can have its own description.
Yeah.
I think Matthew was intelligent.
Thank you.
Yes.
Pandora's box type stuff.
Yeah, okay, I like it.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
Sequel in space. Now, as long as we're talking about Pandora's box, I have another point of intrigue to me personally, and I've literally never in any of the pre-prep made this make sense to anybody, I don't think.
Yeah.
Amityville space / horror / show / slasher / circus forever. This is the horror premises so constantly reoccurrent that they will be making movies with $5 and a dream out of them forever. This is the fact that there are 7,000 shark movies on Amazon Prime and Tubi TV and Shudder. This is just the stuff that is so frequently adapted that there is no room for it to ever be anything but just the same goddamn thing. What do we think of that?
I think why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I also think why not, but you have to realize when you go into those that they are made with chewing gum, a shoestring, and maybe half a script.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by John's point of it being a looking into the void.
It's just that there's so much out there. It's such a gargantuan mass that's impossible to see all of that. It's kind of like the ocean.
None of them have ever stood out.
It's like the ocean, like sharks.
It's
it's like
they cosmic nothing.
I would argue
they don't stand out because it's like you've seen them. It's like Christmas movies, but for horror.
I would argue they sometimes do stand out, and those ones become really special. Like, think about the Pope's Exorcist.
That is true. That is a budget.
No, but these, I'm not saying these as the trope exists, do not need to be no budget. It just needs to be a washed out cookie cutter ripoff. And the Pope's Exorcist literally shares a name with The Exorcist if you add popes in between the literal two only words.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. That's just
spooky, makes me feel
genre. That is just subcategories.
Okay,
you know?
No, okay. I will admit that there are.
You know what also almost shares a title with The Exorcist?
What?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose. The Last Exorcism.
That's
Exorcism.
But it's the same thing.
Of Emily Rose is like an actual it's not the same thing. That's a legal drama, unless I'm thinking of a different movie. And The Last Exorcism is a full-on genre deconstruction. It's incredible. What I'm saying, and you're proving my point, is these have the capacity to be really good films if they let them.
But that's just subgenres. It's just like, yes, you can find a good thing in a subpile.
No, if this is the subgenre, then the trope on trial here is the washed out ripoff subgenre. It's.
I probably should.
It is like 90
stuff about Amityville.
It is like 90% shit in this barrel, but there is gold in them barrels, and I don't want to write off this entire thing for the I want to separate the chaff from the grain, and I think there's some real grain. I will go as much as meh, but I will not throw rocks at it. I will not throw rocks.
So there's two choices.
I wasn't going to throw rocks
at the bottom of the fucking tier list.
No, wait a second. Give me a moment. I wasn't gonna throw rocks at it either. Do you know how many fucking shit movies I watched?
Oh, absolutely.
I found the Pope's Exorcist.
She did
definitely.
So well.
I'm not. I don't want to discount that.
The Last Exorcism as a sequel, that sucks. I watched that.
I mean, it's got 15 minutes of it that unmakes everything I love about that movie.
Yeah.
And don't worry, it doesn't matter. The other movie does not matter. They use it to bully the girl for 5 minutes, and then it does not matter. She was in fact the point is that she's still possessed.
That sucks for her.
Yeah,
but it's interesting enough that these genre typings have their beats and they're revisitable through this sort of meta trope. And the fact that we're able to talk this much about it.
Yeah, no, I am very comfortable in the either why not or meh zone. Because, I spent a summer of my life watching like 2 horror movies per day.
Yeah.
They sucked.
Breakfast and dinner.
No, they were like just usually in the middle of the day because I didn't have anything to do. I just got out of middle school.
Brunch and second lunch.
I think
Yes.
the sheer volume is just kind
There's
of
so many.
I guess.
Yeah,
It's
it's
kind
like-
of bad.
And the fact that there is gold in there is part of what makes it special, or like space, or just like sifting through so much nothing, and then occasionally there's something that reminds you, this exists, art exists, I exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's what trickles down from the big ones, you know? And then it's like, yes, let's reuse the concept forever.
Yeah.
Or let's reuse the setting forever.
Let's hit that to a why not, man.
Yeah, why
I
not,
wouldn't
man?
say
Some
no.
people got employed.
Yeah.
Now, where should we go next?
Is
I
it
say
time to
let's-
talk about jump scares?
You know what is also talking about cheap filmmaking? Jump scares.
Ah!
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Put a
also,
one in there.
necessarily little jump scare fake out. I think these get
Just kidding.
talked about in the same
I
place.
think
I'd put jump scares in Why Not Man and jump scare fake out, and That's a Scary Yeah.
yes,
I-
you are absolutely
Yeah.
correct. Because I feel
remember-
like you have
Yeah.
to be very good at making a fake jump scare, like a jump scare fake out, because it doesn't work, and so it doesn't classify to me unless you make me feel the tension of it.
Yes.
you know? And jump scares, yes, are a fundamental of horror movies, but they can be very cheap. And there's a lot of movies that are just built on the jump scares. Like there's
Lots
a lot
of
of movies.
games, especially.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Even TV shows. Unless they're like good, like Mike Flanagan made them, then you can trust the jump scares there.
You hear that, Mike Flanagan? You've got the Mel seal of approval.
Hey, Mike Flanagan,
It-
if you're watching this, why? Go make another
Why?
TV show.
Yeah, the fuck are you doing here, man? Go make me a
Go to the
hunting of
Arkham Asylum
another house.
charity
He's a
stream.
genuine fan,
Like-
and you're
I'm
casting
sorry.
him away.
I'm so
Go
orky.
work, make something good, not like Midnight Club, like something good, like all the
stop
other
it.
ones.
You're hurting Mike Flanagan's feelings.
He knows there was trash.
Stop
crying
it.
and
That's worse
bleeding
to
now.
Michael.
He needs to know that there was trash.
You need to be gentle to Michael right now.
Apologize to Michael.
Don't
No, I
apologize to
won't.
Michael.
That
I
show
would
was
like to
trash.
Jump to praise for jump scares.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
think it is very accessible to make a jump scare.
Yeah.
Deceptively so, almost. It still
Yes.
demands you create a scenario of some sort of continuous tension, than that it is rather interrupted shockingly and suddenly. And so much of the reason why horror and comedy both work is the safe version of these interruptions we can conceptualize for ourselves.
Yes.
Jump scares, I think, are just like the most in your goddamn face version, sort of perfect, crushed down, pressure like diamond stuff of what horror generally does. It unsettles in a way you're able to tolerate.
But yeah, I get that. Like a good jump scare can do a lot for you, but
Yeah, that's why I put them in Why Not Man instead of I'm gonna throw rocks at you.
yeah.
I-
Yeah.
I think people have a hatred for jump scares because they don't like the feeling of getting got. And being scared by
It's
a jump
very
scare makes
funny to
you
get
like,
people,
oh shit,
right?
the movie got me. I don't like that.
I don't want to
I
lose.
mean,
to
a lot of
Five
people who are
Nights
into
at
horror
Freddy's.
want to be gotten. I think a lot of people don't like jump scares because they think they're a bit overused, so people get
Yeah,
over.
there's too many.
yeah.
Like again,
It's like some people are overcritical of things because they happen way too much.
yeah. Like
I
go
agree with
watch The Fall of House of Usher.
It's a generally
It's
good
good,
recommendation.
just good, and I love getting
So
got by
many
all
jump
those jump scares. Go watch The Haunting of Hill House and get fucking terrified by the things that are in the background. Get spooked.
Or watch The House on Haunted Hill.
And don't get scared at all.
Yeah.
We have an interesting brand new problem. We're actually ranking within tiers for the first time in this video. Our jump scares better than the Amityville trash heap forever.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I love jump scare fake outs.
so.
I think it's so funny when surprised it was a cat the whole time.
Yes.
Like, I don't necessarily think this was great, but the laziest jump scare fake out I've seen is still, it makes me laugh to this day. It was in Paranormal Activity 4, I believe, and like most of that movie is through Zoom, and you're like on this Zoom call for like 4 minutes while this guy is just like playing on his computer, and like there's barely any audio when like his girlfriend has just been like, oh, I'll be back in a minute, I need to go get something from the kitchen. And then you wait in real time and his girlfriend like jumps back on her bed as someone would do and it's like, hey there. And it's like, wow, that got me. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, while we're here,
Yes.
why was this house so cheap?
Dude.
This is when you picked
like,
up the
how-
house with the murders in it,
Yeah.
or on top of the... They
Yeah,
don't
for a
do
second I
this
thought like,
anymore.
oh, is this house like falling apart? Like, no, it's like, oh, this house was so cheap because something horrible's happening. Yeah.
Or it's on
Yeah,
top of
it's
the
like
Native
my name.
American burial grounds.
Oh, yeah,
that thing
that's-
they don't do
yeah.
anymore because it sucked. It was sad.
Unless you're watching very old
It's
Supernatural.
like the one. It's probably one of the more uncomfortable parts of Psychonauts 1 is how that's a thing in Psychonauts 1.
Wow.
I think my criticism of why is this house so fucking cheap? Listen. Maybe if you're getting a Victorian mansion in perfect conditions, like you don't even have to fucking paint the walls. Or redo the kitchen.
And then the real
And you're
estate agent
getting
was
it
like, don't go in the
for less-
slaughter room.
Yeah, I mean the basement.
I mean the basement, I said the whole time. And then they
But that's-
embarrassed and rub the back of their neck and their machete falls out.
Hey,
and they're
welcome to
like,
my MTV's
Yeah.
cribs. Don't go in the basement. I'm serious, don't.
Don't. You don't want to see what's in there. But like, and you're paying it less than a little cheap, stupid apartment. Why do you think that is, motherfucker? And like, you don't have money. They never have fucking money.
They never,
It's
they
like,
never like,
you
let's
just-
leave. Go on.
You know who
Yeah,
had money?
because
I can't think of MTV's cribs anymore without thinking of Tommy Tallarico.
That guy's a real horror trope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The family from the
Rocks.
others, they had money and got the house for cheap. And I love how
They-
them getting the house for cheap has literally no fucking bearing on the plot. Like them getting
Yeah.
the house for cheap is a like full on red herring.
yeah. It was actually the war, but because it's like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like they never fucking have money. Like, yes, this costs maybe like not like comparatively to what you are acquiring. It's cheap. But somehow it is the exact total of what you have in your bank account. Like, you can't fucking rent an hotel room after. You can't get enough gas to drive back to your parents or to a
Also,
friend's
you
house.
don't have to
You
starve.
You're gone. If you leave this house, you have nothing to your name. You have to sell your ass.
Yeah.
And why are you buying property if you don't have anything to spare? Buy a smaller place. Why are you going for a Victorian mansion? You also have to maintain it after. If you don't have any money, maybe shoot lower. question it a little
Putting
bit.
in Mazone, he's down, let's leave, actively angers me. And why was this house so cheap is always a bad, stupid start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now back to the Great Affection Zone.
Yeah.
That evil old man is clearly Dracula. Oh, Dr. Alucard, who moved atop the hill in our small town in that formerly abandoned creepy house. Or, like, just the old man that lives in the creepy house down the street, and he's always a goddamn vampire.
It's like the horror equivalent of, like, the, like, homeless man being Santa Claus. It's like, whenever the creepy old evil guy is like exactly as expected, it's like, wow, I guess an angel really does get their wings.
Like, my name is Evil McDevil. I own this derelict house.
I think this is definitely a comic trope. Comedic, maybe. But I think it just puts a little more zest on the premise in a way I will always, like, you know, be able to enjoy seeing. It's never somewhere sensible for Dracula or a vampire lord to have moved. It's almost like a rural village, you know?
This is one of those tropes I've never actually seen in action, but I've heard so much about.
It must have been far more common in, like, you know, 50s B cinema, like Hammer Brothers and stuff.
I feel like it gets faked out a lot, which is also enjoyable.
Which is also something we're gonna probably touch on.
It has a very fun inversion. Yeah, Fred from the most annoying YouTube channel of all time, except for all the racist ones, made a fun song about that continues to haunt my brain. My babysitter's a vampire. I know it's back in my head again. I shouldn't have made this video. My head's haunted.
It is a show.
Where would you like to put that evil old man is clearly Dracula? That's a scary even though it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I'll give it to you because, like, it would be, why not, man? But, like, if you all are agreeable to, if you all want to go, that's
it's
scary.
It's so funny when it's Dracula. It's always Dracula. No one makes up a new vampire. Not really. They just make Dracula or serial numbers filed off Dracula.
Yeah.
He's the dude, you know. He's like, oh, what are you gonna change? They did it good. That's why he's immortal, not because he's a vampire.
A friend of mine was once complaining about how they actually really like love triangles, and they hate how often people like complain about love triangles. And another friend responded with something I think is very relevant to the entire video: is there's a lot of tropes that are easy to do badly, and audiences have been trained to cringe at them.
Yeah.
That's a good analysis of like every trope on this.
Good analysis. Now I feel like an asshole doing the rest of the video.
It's fine.
It's
the
okay.
mission statement. It's supposed to be comedically argumentative.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one? This is like Dracula. Weird guy, fake villain.
Oh,
like in Home Alone.
Yes, I was gonna say, just like in Home Alone, the most horror movie of all time.
Why in Friday the 13th that everybody keeps telling like the kids, hey, that guy's weird and creepy and probably a serial killer, and then he's just riding his bicycle quoting Bible verses like, they're gonna get you, and then
he's like, get out. He's like the Harbinger. He's the Harbinger, but getting mistaken for the villain, which is interesting.
Yeah,
there's
Emily's got some.
There's an episode of Knight Rider where Knight Rider ended before the term autism was very standard, but there's an episode where there is a fake-out villain who is very much autistic. And they do try to make you feel guilty for assuming that he's a villain. It doesn't quite work because they very much painted him as seeming evil at first, but they do at least try to make a point of no, this guy wasn't evil, he was just weird.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
This is just an awkward dude.
I know we just did the trope here, sorry, we just did the trope last thing, but I love I like this trope a lot, the weirder guy fake villain. I love in Texas Chainsaw Massacre where they do the double fake out and the weird old guy is actually the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captivating film.
Like
A good movie also.
Oh man, Drayton Sawyer. What a piece of shit.
I enjoy that
Double fake outs are good.
dynamic
general.
this kind of evokes. It's hard not to remember this when it's part of a story. Like, a video game I like that recently got a truly terrible remaster, Until Dawn, does this very well. It sort of opens the world up when you weird guy fake villain to, like, accept, well, if he's flying the plane, then who's flying the plane? And if he's in here and we're out there, you know, it gets your head rolling all sorts of silly ways.
It's like, oh, this understands that sometimes people are just weird. It means if somebody is like very tropically consistent, they might not actually just be a walking trope.
Mm-mm.
Anyway,
I like it,
that
you know?
stuff that happened at the end of Home Alone, so I like Weird Guy Fake Villain.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
That was
yes.
incredible.
Do we love this? Do we love Weird Guy Fake Villain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
Do we love
yeah.
Weird Guy more than women?
Well,
You know what? I
don't
think
answer
so.
Take
You
that,
cannot- no,
women!
I feel like just because you phrased it like that, no.
It's too late. Emily confidently responded.
Carl.
Girl, the movements!
I hate to say it, but like that is like the better trope, I think.
Let's look for an awful one. Let's look for
An
that
awful one.
sucks.
Oh, based on a true story.
Based on a true story, alright. You have something.
Yeah.
Like
love when
Texas
it's-
Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay, yeah. But
Like, based on a true story,
based-
it isn't.
Based on a true story, it's like the amounts people will go to say it's based on a true story. It's like I forget what movie it is. I think it's Fargo. Literally, like says based on a true story and isn't in any way, and it's like, yeah, no, that's a comment on what that phrase means.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, also, all of the Conjurings. All of the Conjurings. You know the big franchise that like spawned Annabelle and the Nuns?
yeah.
Yeah. They like, it's like, yeah, it kind of happened. Like, technically,
This
the
was a
people
real
were
couple
there.
who did ghost
Who
investigations.
did do this, but this did not happen like this.
There's an old TV show, Dragnet, which is a cop show, when the whole gimmick was that, like, oh, every one of the episodes is, like, actually a thing that happened to the LA police, and we've just substituted in all of our characters. And I always have to wonder, how much of it was total bullshit?
How much did they, like,
More
build it
than-
up a little more, you know?
And how much did they paint the police as more sympathetic than they actually were?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
More
So
than
it's
zero.
More than not at
Uh-huh.
all.
yeah.
When all this, it's always more than you'd like, but less than you'd hope. Yeah, look, based on a true story, I think I think there can be movies done where based on a true story is good and can be worth it. I think horror is most of the time you should just stay away. If it's inspired, say like you know, like a little bit in the credits, like, hey, this was inspired by this event, please, like, here's a donation for the family of the afflicted,
Yeah,
you know?
it's hard to be not like it's easy to be insensitive. I feel like it's like, especially when there's people still alive. I suppose
My,
like just change it, just change the name. But like, I feel the appeal for based on a true story, it makes the audience feel worse. So it's like, ooh. But I don't know, it's kind of...
To me, it's useless.
Yeah,
I think
to me,
it's just a completely useless. Like, I'm here to process art and like hear stories. I don't care
if it's real or not.
Judge this piece of art.
I argue, and this is my final point. After this, I'll stop talking. It is worse than useless because it, as a statement, is like, okay, you don't need suspension of disbelief. And so then this piece of fiction is now being treated under much more scrutiny.
I've always found it to be such a bullshit marketing spiel they give you when you're already watching the goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's not true. It isn't. You know?
And if it is true, like, people will talk about it anyway.
Yeah. It's, I don't know.
Like, if it is true, people are gonna just talk about it by word of mouth. You don't need to say anything about it.
Yeah.
Genuinely,
man. I think it's like the more meh zone ever.
Yeah.
I might throw rocks at it, to be honest.
You want to throw rocks at it?
I just, because it's the kind of perverse that is the bad side of the Amityville Forever thing. When you're basing it upon a true story, you're either lying or you're evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, it's better if you're lying, because, you know, you get the Blair Witch effect.
And even then, when you're
instead
lying,
of the Amityville,
you're just like putting such a weird stink in my face first thing. It's like a cinematic skunk blast. I can't get it out of my head the entire time. Cinematic skunk blast. That's really good, man.
Because I feel
that was, I like that.
Something just occurred to Matthew. Let's hear it out.
Yeah. The Titanic was, all in all, an absolutely horrific situation that, quite frankly, should have been... Could we put based on a true story lower than I'm going to throw rocks? Because it makes me more upset.
See, I was just thinking that as well, and I think your reasoning makes more sense. Lower is worse. Yeah. I put it up there because it was worse, and then I was like, well, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You want to make another tier, or...?
No. It just needs to be the lowest part of I'm going to throw rocks at you, because anything after that is
it's just
threatening.
Actively harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a trope.
They're throwing rocks at us.
The tier below this is I'm going to throw rocks at your son.
Damn.
I think
small.
If there's anything else in the trope list that's like just so genuinely like harmful on a real life level, then I think it'd be worth making a new tier to point that out. But
you know what? It's the ethical way. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll say it later.
Okay. I just very quickly, full on. The Titanic, absolutely horrific event that was just complete sheer happenstance, and you know this is horror in the wild, and then somebody like put based on a true story on a romance film, and then now people think of this like truly horrific event as like, oh, isn't it so romantic?
Love loses just this once. That's Dr. Who saying it in the edit. Love loses just this once. It's that little boy story from Doctor Who.
It's like Doctor Who,
Yeah. Just this once.
I think the ethical way, or like the least bad way of doing based on a true story, is like mockumentaries. Like, it is, quote-unquote, based on a true story
my
inside
eyeballs are, like,
the fiction.
bulging out of my skull, like, through the sheer proximity we are to talking about what we do in the shadows right now. Like, daggers coming out of my goddamn eye sockets.
I think it's, like, because you can get the... Like, in the fucking trailer, you can get the based on a true story shit, but then it isn't. And it's the Blair Witch shit.
It's a shame,
You
and
know?
this is interesting, and I don't know where else it'll come up. Based on a Strutori peaked at its first popularizing entrant, you hate it when that happens. The Blair Witch Project
Is that
did this-
Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Blair Witch.
Oh, Blair Witch.
Blair Witch
Yeah.
is not real, though.
Yeah, well, they
Blair
pretended
Witch-
that was the marketing campaign. They made
Yeah.
people feel like scared perverts coming into the theater to see like footage of a crime that did not occur.
Blair Witch
We made a whole new genre.
But
Yeah,
I feel like The Conjuring also had a lot of success.
Not in 2006, it didn't.
No, but like as a franchise, it did the true based on a true story thing, and it did have a lot of success. So on a quality level of the material, probably yes, it did peak with Blair Witch, but on a
with
level of
money
we
as
made
our
money,
god,
yeah,
to
the-
obey
like,
the
you can't-
holy stock.
yeah, you can't argue that the fucking Conjuring old shit didn't make a lot of it.
Blair Witch has made me what you said about Blair Witch made me realize there is something that I wish I could put on this chart like now of extreme promotional stunts. Like the
Damn,
crazy
you're right.
Oh,
Too
yeah,
late,
the
though.
crazy stuff they did for Blair Witch, and then also like Cloverfield and Cannibal Holocaust makes me
Yeah.
think like that
Dude,
definitely
Cannibal
deserves to
Holocaust.
be
We
a
have no
t-
time to
like-
talk about it. It's not on the list. You had 2 days.
Yeah.
Ah!
We're gonna go
Okay.
for a quick and easy
Yeah.
one.
Alright.
Foreboding, safe space. This one is kind of video
Oh.
games, because
I
video
love
games
it.
can be
Yeah.
scary too. This
Yeah.
is when you get into a really quiet room that has 20 shotgun shells and 5 medkits and 2 save points.
like
Aha.
what could
Yeah.
be possibly be happening in the next?
I love this,
You know what?
dude.
The best example of this, I think, is Mass Effect 2.
Oh yeah?
When you go on the collector ship and there's nothing there. Nobody's there, there's no enemies, but there's all these like covers and all that. And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Or
Yeah.
the shed.
It's like something is suspicious here.
Or the shed.
Like they're
in,
the level's designed for enemies, but there's no enemies. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
You were saying something about the cock shed?
No, not a cuck shed.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm not talking about Bale's Harkos. No, I was talking about like the shed in Resident Evil. Like it's so difficult to get into the shed. You need to fight like I think minimum 3 dogs. Which
Damn.
dogs
Every
Three old
day of my
dogs?
life, man.
But-
Like I have
but
no
then
context for it, so I'm like, damn. 3
The
old
dogs
dogs.
are hard in that game. And then
Okay.
Dogs are the worst enemies in every video game. They're always way too strong. Go on.
yeah. And then you get in and it's like, hey, here's like every possible ammo type you can have, even the like missile gun. Also, here's like so much health stuff, and it's like, oh god. And then you see the like get out of jail free cards, and you're like, oh fuck.
I'm tempted to put Foreboding Space safe space in peak cinema, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
That will be done. Religious imagery stays atop because you guys
Yeah.
talk about exorcisms all day.
I do.
gamey. Are we still running
Video gamey. We've recently
let's
been
keep on the
playing.
video
Here's
gamey.
some cross promotion at the time of recording. Yeah, exactly. We've been playing Silent Hill. Which, yeah, the horror of Silent Hill. It's based around the mind of those experiencing it.
I think a better way to say it is
Yes.
that the horror was always inside your heart.
The real
You should
horror
have
was
said that when you
inside of us.
suggested the trope.
Sorry, the real horror was inside us all along.
True.
I think it gets a
Damn.
little convoluted. I guess, as it's written. It's hard for me to look at The Horror Was You and not think about, like, you know, the amnesiac serial killer that you were trying to chase was you the entire time.
Yeah.
I do see the gaping hole where we could have had surrealist nightmare dreamscapes put in, but it came up too late.
Yeah.
So I just stop here.
It's The Horror Was You.
John's got
it
something.
seems.
Let's let John speak.
Oh yeah.
I'm just at some point I did have to put this disclaimer out that I am the least. I faked my resume to get here. I haven't seen any horror movies.
Well, I haven't seen that many horror movies either.
Anyway.
In fact, most of the horror movies I've seen, I have seen with people in this call.
Yeah. We're happy to tell you everything you need to know. And you experience fear often, so you're still here with us.
I do experience fear, just like all people. And what I was trying to get at is, like, maybe this is a type of trope that is seen too commonly or doesn't do so well, but I'm a massive fan of this type of storytelling just because I like the idea of, like, large stories and large horrors being representative of character issues. I think this is a route to do a really good deep psychological, like, look at somebody, and I find those types of stories and mediums interesting.
Yeah.
Like Perfect Blue is the movie that came to mind when thinking about how much I like this particular thing.
Or remember Saw 4? That was, like, even knowing the reveal in Saw 4, it was, like, still... whatchamacallit?
I don't know. You started the sentence. Take me on the roller coaster.
Okay. Like, Hoffman, right? Everybody... Hoffman. Like, he's been in the movies since... I'm not sure if he was in one of the police scenes in the first one, but he's at least been there since 2. And so he's, like, a very established face in this franchise. And, like, he picks up a Jigsaw tape, and it's like, oh, well, there goes Jigsaw targeting the police again. And then it's revealed that this is, like, hey, continue doing my stuff tape.
It was all a ruse. It was always inside the plan.
You know, I'm turning around. It makes me feel like some sort of weak-minded little boy, almost, coming from, I think it's convoluted at the start, but being provided, like, the evocative plea and the evidential bit of, like, how it can be exciting to have your perception flipped.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. Yeah, I think it does, like, lend to a more sticks with you, almost mentally damaging in that fun way we like terror to be zone.
I definitely feel like he works better with psychological horror than with, like, body horror. Honestly.
Definitely.
I feel like that's like this is almost the root of a lot of psychological horror.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I tell you, there's a halfway decent
think
flick
that makes
called
it very
Saint
good.
Maud that deals a lot with The Horror Was You. It has this tremendous.
I have it in my watch list.
Well, I guess I would
somehow
say the ending. But it's a really good, extremely vile iteration upon the horror being inside of you the whole time, and, you know, the questions of how do we deal with the repercussions of being our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
And I think that is a more cerebral and fascinating, almost educational, edutainment and all, to the audience, kind of spooky to put in there.
There's a horror game I like, Decimate Drive, which it is the plot is basically a beat-for-beat rip-off of Silent Hills 2's plot. To the point where when I was first watching Wayne Radio TV play it, and it became obvious that this was going on, somebody in the chat called the player character Sames Junderland. The reason Decimate Drive is still good despite this is because Decimate Drive is a game that needed to have a story, but it didn't really necessarily matter what the story was, so it was just, why not rip off a better story? Because, like, what was interesting about it was the way it told its story. So, like, it needed to have a story, but what that story was not important.
Yeah.
Because the gimmick of that game is that it's a horror game that's all about trying to not get run over by a car.
Just like my real life, and oh baby, I'm losing.
I'm not bad at it.
I'll vote. I think the horror was you should go in the middle of but I love it though.
You like Weird Guy more than the horror was you? Weird Guy is ruling the world.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. More than Weird Guy, but
Democracy Manifest. I put it up. Let's go on.
Are you allowed to move Final Girl? Because I like it more too than Weird Guy.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if Democracy's Manifest. I think Weird Guy is funny.
Oh, I love it. Like, I definitely think it belongs in the I love it tier. I like what Final Girl more.
Time for the swing state. Emily.
I guess I can side with feminism.
Yeah!
Feminism wins. It's like Doctor Who said, just this once, feminism wins. I love mocking things you all cherish.
Yeah. Hey, mocking something that a lot of people cherish. What if sex was bad?
Interesting. This one I actually have a lot to say about. I'm very captivated by this. Let's think into sex equals death. Should I begin?
Go ahead.
Question.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to make this a 2-part video?
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
Not at all.
Fair enough.
Alrighty then. I think sex equals death has significant application more than it is often used. I have been fascinated by it tropically, not because I think sex equals death, but because sex is the most natural and beautiful thing in the entire goddamn world, except a kitten. And that so often our protagonists are punished for the original sin of being alive, and having sex and wanting to be alive is harrowingly fascinating. There's definitely misogyny trash out there that wants to punish the loose woman, you know, like idiots.
I would hate this trope a lot more if it weren't for Jason X. Jason X uses it in a very awesome way.
Yeah.
It mocks its protagonist there in Jason X. He wastes time challenging teenagers for enjoying their goddamn existence.
Yeah.
I love that literally the hatred of sex is enough to wake up, like, full on, like, dead for, like, 1,000+ years Jason. And then later on in the film,
I smell consensual sex.
Yeah, the myth of consensual sex. Jason doesn't.
Jason did not consent.
But then also, his hatred of sex later on in the movie is his undoing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's more often than not. I can't really picture instance where it's not like they're having fun, you know? It's all good. Nothing bad is happening between them. You know, it's just usually young people having a little bit of, you know, exploration of each other.
Godless glee.
Like, yeah, I mean, godless, I don't know. It's sex. It's like...
I mean, it's not a counterpoint that people think it's like ungodly and too free. And then the guillotine can come as swinging down with the conservative idiot think piece of like, we showed them.
I think a fantastic thing to bring up here is Hellraiser, specifically the first two, when it was still very inextricably linking sex and horror. The first Hellraiser, while it is definitely a bit slow, makes such a concentrated point of how this woman has... she isn't evil because she's loose. she's
You're
loose because
referring
she's
to the
evil.
motherly antagonist of the film.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She love is probably too strong a word. She lusts very heavily after her brother-in-law, but because he was... Yeah?
Just a little intersection. I think that if after all that time, and after what all she did, she is kind of in love with him. I don't know. Yeah, just
It's
a
very
little bit.
passionately
Because
motivated, like so much of the sex equals death, or sex and death being so much of the same thing in these fictions is a relevant evocative thought.
Like, she really... I guess what I was thinking was, like, it's shown that she doesn't like him or gel with him as a person. It's just whenever she's horny, she's, like, inexplicably, like, drawn to him, even in more monstrous of form. And then she goes on a tirade, like, seducing basically more or less available men and then taking them up to the murder room in the attic where she kills them. And then in 2, which is also still about sex, she comes back as a revenant like her lover in the first one was, and uses sex and manipulation to kind of get her hands on the Lament configuration, for lack of better phrasing.
It's a little bit of a factual recounting.
What I mean to say is, I don't like in Hellraiser, sex and horror are linked, and also sex and hell. And I don't think it is necessarily because the author dislikes sex. I think more the idea is that people have got they've got hang-ups. And the idea of what are the most of these hang-ups? Well, like, hell and sex are pretty big hang-ups. What if there was a sex hell where people, like, do demonic sex orgies and feel good in being demons?
I think there's a lot of spaces in which to be captivated by sex equals death. And I wish I hadn't called the image sex equals death, because now I'm going to feel bad when it ends up decently highly ranked.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's a trope, and it's, if you use it correctly, it's pretty good, and like there's some stuff behind it when it's used good that it says a lot, you know, kind of contextualizes the movie in different ways, I feel like.
I'm gonna make a swing. Not sexually.
Okay, wait, what about this? Pandora's Box.
No. Pandora's Box is about the franchise.
But I want to know why.
Yeah, okay.
Pandora's Box about the franchise, like, doing something that is going to doom itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I genuinely thought, like, it's either really good or really bad, like 50-50, like...
Yeah, no, because Pandora's Box, like, when she opened the box, it fucked up the world.
Pretty famously.
Yeah, and then, like, there's nothing else that can happen, really. There's just everything bad is out.
So, like 99% of the time when a franchise does this, it could be really good, but the franchise is going to be over after this.
Yeah, whether it's good or not, this is the end of the line.
I do feel like sex is death is kind of like a common thing in schlocky horror, of just like the couples having sex and they're getting killed for it, and I feel like there's a lot of that exists that's kind of just the result of lazy moral panic. I know we talked about a lot of like good and great examples of it, but I'm not sure if like those great examples of it are the most common.
The most repeated.
I agree to that.
Yeah.
Maybe if it isn't that's scary, it'd be low. That's a scary.
Yeah.
Like at the very end.
There you go, sex.
I
into
think
the
it's
back.
still good.
Just like. Sorry, it was a lewd
What
reference.
I've got hurdy-gurdy music playing now.
Ooh, love the hurdy-gurdy.
Where are we going next?
Let's go to
Friends?
Let's go to two entrants that I think could Pandora's box.
Okay.
Eventually, the villain is the star.
Oh,
if you make enough slasher movies, you have killed enough people due to the genre necessity that the slasher is the enduring goddamn character.
Yes.
And if they manage to afford sequels,
I think that's what slasher movies are all from the start.
From the start.
Slasher movies, the killer's the star from the start.
Child's Play 1, I think, is interesting to point at here. This is Chucky. Because Chucky is like the home invader, and so much of the theming, at least, of the first two entrants there is the way in which we are failing successive generations. There's a tragedy to the innocence broken, but Chucky being a slaughtersome doll who loves random murder is the means of communication. And then later on in that series, he's like an infinite voodoo doll monster that like goes fuck you and everyone laughs.
Also, I would just like to say, in the first one, it's not even like hands down known for a fact Chucky is anything other than a normal doll until later. Like, it treads the line between it's like the doll's evil or the doll's haunted.
You know, Freddy is the craziest villain, is the star eventually. The catchphrase the guy eventually develops is bitch.
Because they were because of this franchise is so old that back then that was like whoa, he said bitch.
Whoa, get the kooky teens in the theater, man. This is going crazy.
And he's in like all up, I think, 8 minutes of the original. Like literally most of the first movie is people so desperately trying to have as little interaction with the main point of the movie as possible. It's hilarious.
Because it's the scary thing that kills you if you fall asleep.
No,
so
I know,
they're
but
trying
I'm saying,
to avoid
like,
it.
Conceptually, as a viewer, it's hilarious to see them trying so desperately to avoid Freddy, what most people come to see.
Eventually, much more so. When it's like, and it's interesting that Terrifier, modern horror that I personally like, is already there. You want to see the dumb, violent thing they do. It kind of makes a mockery of its premise after a very long time. And it's interesting how sort of inextricable it seems to prove from around the same era where they start going to space.
Yeah.
I feel like Terrifier starts where a lot of like slasher franchise not end, but like they're in the middle. They're not to space time yet, but they're definitely past the survivors are the focus of the show.
You know, at the start of this video, I thought, I don't actually like horror that much. I probably don't belong here. I don't actually have anything to say about any of these. Isn't Imposter Syndrome the funniest goddamn thing in the world?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel funny.
It's funny in retrospect.
Yeah. No,
when you get over it.
Do you get over it?
Sometimes.
I would vote to...
If you can identify it.
Yeah.
Self-awareness.
I would like to vote that eventually the villain is the star at the end of but I love it though, like after Weird Old Man, because I also think there are so many horror movies that are just like, well, we've got our fun mascot. Let's roll.
I don't know. Listen, I'd go... I don't know if I like it, like personally. I don't.
The revenues are gonna kill you.
Yeah. something that's significant also, Matthew, is
Yeah.
we literally advised you to stop watching the Chucky movies or consuming the franchise at all after the villain is the star era.
Yeah, like Seed of Chucky is the last I've experienced of the Chucky franchise under like my legal team suggested I stop.
Because it's
which one's that one?
Good point.
It's the one where the baby, Billy Boyd as the puppet baby.
Yeah.
So when did it come out?
2005, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Let me
get a full list of the Chucky franchise.
2004.
Welcome to the Killer Dolls and Nasty Zone.
Mel said 2004.
Damn it. I was wrong. I've humiliated myself.
That is alright. But like, the point is, I don't know if I love it though.
Oh, the Mark Hamill Chucky one is incredible.
That's the best one.
Well, the 2019 one?
Yeah,
I
we'll
also
deal with him
with
sometime, don't worry.
I don't even know if it's... Oh, that's scary. I think it's like, at best, why not? And at worst, mad zone. Like, if I would go... Like, if I had to go with
protagonists you hate? Slasher protagonists.
It just... I don't, like, hate them. It just gets a little too washed out. It's like, I get it.
Oh, it's a different Tom Holland. Okay.
Yeah.
The negative 20-year-old did not direct Child's Play.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like...
I really don't like... Did I like the Freddy movies? To a certain point, and then
it's fun
it became
that you called them the Freddy movies even then. Maybe it's like a crime of convenience, but also it feels true, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like
freakiness
is the pull, even though they're like all of those films, as we discussed after watching them, like are thematically resonant explorations of ideas plaguing young people.
Yes. Except 6, I'm pretty sure.
I think the degree to which this is challenging and the historical evidence of it never sort of ending well.
Where is Freddy, bitch?
In the future.
And so, hopefully, more than none of it made it through to the world of the recording. Eventually, the villain is the star, I think, needs to go to pretty permanently the lowest end of Pandora's box.
Yeah.
It's a...
Yeah.
You can't
I think...
not.
It's like...
May I?
Yes.
I think it's like the street they walk to go to die.
Wow, bad choice road, huh?
I would consider it more like an organ transplant. It allows the franchise to keep living, but it needs the constant immunosuppression medication of this guy needs to be a steam stealer forever or the franchise dies.
Terrifier is on such a loose goddamn thread, dude. We are one Terrifier movie miss away from No More Clown.
I've never heard of Terrifier before now, so I'm very fascinated by how much it's come up.
It's more of an effects showcase than actually a movie, but I like it. It's this... It's the most violent thing possible every time to agitate people on a level I didn't think I would get to see occur again in my lifetime. Because way back when, you used to have people say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, and even Child's Play were like ruining the sanctity of cinema, right? They were vile and terrible and driving our children to psychopathy. And now Terrifier is so hardcore pushing the envelope even from where it is now that people are like, this is unforgivable. Which I love.
It went from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Chucky to like Hostel and Saw. And then it became
And then
Terrifier.
John Kramer is like, whoa, art buddy, chill the fuck out.
I heard that the big kill in the new Terrifier, and I promise to move on to our next trope after this. I heard that the big kill is that they put a chainsaw up someone's butt for 3 minutes, which I'm eager to see play out.
I don't believe it until I see it.
3 minutes?
That's the
Because they
thing with
lied.
Terrifier. The way they found to do the envelope thing is to go back to practical effects and make the murders excruciatingly long.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's
Yes.
so funny. I said I wouldn't. My favorite kill is in Terrifier 2. There's this impossibly perfect Christian girl who loves her mom so much, and the clown just like flays her and pours bleach on her and puts salt in her, and there's no reason for any of
In
it.
the girl or her mom?
In the girl. She's looking
And
at like
also
the
the mom.
perfect family photo and going like, no, I won't get to go to the party and grow up, and the clown is like, this is the funniest thing that's ever happened.
The clown is like, I'm loving this. This is so hilarious.
It's so cruel. It's comedic. All right. While we're on
Where's next?
cruelty,
Does that say, why are you still nutting?
Yes.
horrifying. This one is, why are you still noting? Have you ever played a game where a guy keeps leaving audio logs, even though he's dying or turning into a monster the whole time?
Yes.
Five Nights at Freddy's does that frequently.
Yes.
To be fair,
So
like-
much.
to be fair, his are like pre-record, like he's like.
These are all pre-recorded, I think. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
No, I know. What I mean is, like, it's pre-recorded within the system of, like, hey, leave your message for the new guy, and then he leaves the message. It's like proprietary. The message is getting sent to you. It's like killing somebody while they're on the phone. Like, you'd still hear that.
I mean, in the last night, if the last night of Five Nights at Freddy's 1, he's like, "Hey, new guy, I think I'm gonna die tonight."
Hey, no, it's funnier. That's actually the second last night.
Yeah, and the last one is just.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, the last
John's got something.
night's just a yeah, John.
But no, I'm not sure how related it is to the trope itself, but what I do want to say is, like, if I were in a situation where I'm dying or going to die, I probably would keep noting. I think I want that. I think I want that out there, and it's like, I get it.
You can
I don't know
understand how the trope
that is.
keeps happening, right?
Yeah.
One, provocative. Two, educational.
It does, and it does kind of make sense, but it is also weird.
There's like this point in the Wolfenstein game, which is the beautiful, beautiful one. The first
Wolfenstein,
of
the
the
New Order.
reboot, I think.
Yes.
New Order. Thank you. I never remember which is the one that I like. June does because he's amazing. You get the audio logs, and how you get them, like what happens eventually makes sense. But there is a real point in the audio logs where it's like, oh my, why are you still writing this? Because what you are reading is the narrated diary of somebody, and it's like, why are you still writing this? It's like, slowly I die of disease. I wish I hadn't drank that poison. Oh, I'm so weak. I can barely hold my pencil. It's like, why are you diarying
It is
this?
stop. And it is because you need an emotional something.
Oh, definitely.
Even in the worst moments of your life. It's like, I still want... It's like, hey, why is Valerie writing on a piece of washed out toilet paper in V for Vendetta? Because you need someone to remember you. Because dying is one thing, and dying and then you just poof out of existence, it's a whole different thing. It's like in Coco. Has anyone seen Coco?
Yeah.
Disney movie?
Oh, I love
Too
that
bad, that's a
movie.
good one. You die again when they forget you.
Like, and this'll have to come back when we do like a big old Disney something or other video. But like, I had such a proper experience with Coco. It was like I was in a movie and this was the apotheosis moment. But in essence, basically, I went to the cinema with a group of friends, and one of the friends bought their ticket late and wasn't with everybody else. And this was already, I was feeling incredibly like cast out with the friend group, and I was like, okay, I'll sit by myself. And that movie about being like remembered and appreciated really made me so hard. And you know what? I think I just accidentally told the entire story, or at least all that matters. Wow.
Well,
My favorite version of
go on.
My favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol, the TV movie An American Christmas Carol, the Ghost of Christmas Future actually talks, and he straight up says to Benedict Slade, the Scrooge stand-in, "You're the only person who's ever truly died."
Jesus Christ!
Damn.
Because nobody cared enough about you to remember you after your death.
It's like, he died anyway. Merry Christmas, everyone. I love that. And I think the trope kind of spawns from that. Even when it moves from this is a note to found footage kind of stuff, it's like, dude, you're literally descending into hell. Maybe, perhaps, carrying a fucking camera is not your priority right now.
When I saw this on the like listed out, hey, here's what we've got, any more to add, the like, why are you still recording? I thought that was like a Paranormal Activity or Deep House thing, where it's like, why would you genuinely like stop? The footage isn't worth it. Just go. But like this thing of like,
yeah, it's like kind of that old package. You know why? There's bigger problems than you. There's different bigger problems than, oh my god, I'm gonna get 1 million subscribers on my YouTube channel.
Now, do you like it more than women? The
No.
trope? No. Do you like it more than weird guys who are a little scary?
Yeah. I personally do.
I don't.
But
I kind of do.
I
Bad.
don't.
democracy?
Oh, man.
June, tiebreaker.
Yeah.
It does more for the story. It evokes its stakes.
Woo!
And if it sucks, it's funny, you know? It has limited damaging effects.
Yeah. Also, like, it's like 2 tropes in one, almost.
Now, we talked a little bit about death. Old protagonist returns way later. This is sort of the necessary counterpoint to eventually the villain is the star. This is when it comes back to where it started. Generally, I feel, soullessly.
I usually like it.
I usually like it too. My first thought with this is the thing, is Nancy Holbrook's return in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors.
When you said the thing, I thought you meant like John Carpenter's the thing. I was like, I don't think that happens.
Maybe in the comic books.
The video game.
Ben Grimm?
Recently remastered.
But like,
Yeah.
Nancy Holbrook's return as like somebody who has been studying dreams like ever since we last saw her, it really makes it feel like the story continues. Her story continued, and the fact
How
that she's
many
got
movies apart is it?
It's enough.
Okay, it's.
I think
there's
the
only
differentiation
Just a
point there.
curiosity point.
There's one movie where Nancy isn't in it, but there's also a big time between those two.
Yeah. I think, like, the thing is, like, they try to do a different protagonist or protagonist
like,
set,
no.
and then they're like, let's bring back the other thing a little.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a
So it works if they change the old protagonist a lot. Like they've progressed as a character.
Yeah, I have a question about what counts. Does Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018 count?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
like because it's the legacy thing, you know?
Yes. Yeah. In that case, genuinely, Laurie Strode in that movie is one of my favorite horror protagonists. You can see how her life has been completely fucked up by this one night 40 years ago, and how this has lived with her for the rest of time.
That is, I get that. But like the first thing that comes to mind for me, and you haven't seen this, and you shouldn't watch this.
Okay.
I know.
It's when Andy comes back in Chucky's story, and I'm like, I only like you. And like, it's like, oh my god, it's the guy from back then, and that's like the whole appeal. And it's like, why are you here?
Sucks.
Why are you here? And then he keeps going back in the TV show, and I'm like, why are you here?
At least when it's somebody like Tommy Jarvis, it's like he genuinely believes he's the only one who can stop Jason, and like has more or less proven the point numerous times, you know?
If I was a child seeing myself now, I'd be so goddamn impressed that I summoned the courage to watch literally any of these things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Good job, Tiny June. You got it.
I've never seen any of the Tremors sequels. I really should, because 2 is apparently widely regarded as like one of the best made-for-DVD sequels ever. And the 3rd and 4th ones are also generally pretty well regarded. After 5 onwards, apparently, are awful, but the first 4 are apparently really good. And in the 3rd one, the fucking survivalist dude comes back to be the main protagonist.
I enjoy that.
Terminator is a slasher film. I take no judgment on this. This is a true fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terminator 4 is a very interesting concept because...
Which one would you consider 4?
Ooh, it's that.
There's a whole bunch of things that some people would consider 4.
Okay, here is how I consider them. Terminator is the original Arnie one. Terminator 2 Judgment Day is the second one. Terminator 3 is... God, I can't even remember what it's called. The one with TX in it is the one I consider 3.
This time it's personal.
And I consider the 4th one Terminator Salvation.
Okay.
Anyway, Terminator Salvation, to use its government name, is...
something we would never do not to a movie.
Yeah. Whatchamacallit is... Due to the time travel being inherent to Terminator as a franchise, we get to see an old protagonist at an earlier point in their timeline, but later point in the story. Like, so the protagonist maybe not so much, but the hero of Terminator 1 is Kyle Reese, and in Terminator Salvation, we get to see Kyle Reese's like stuff immediately before being sent off on the mission to Terminator 1. And it's a very interesting take on the old protagonist is back.
Do you think this is another Pandora's box?
Some franchises do it so much.
But if you do it so much, it's like not an event anymore. I think.
It kind of mythologizes itself almost. When the old protagonists come back and the violence turns from like sort of a random act of horribleness, or like what we can do onto each other, into like a spite match you're watching play out every year, and hopefully there's a cool violent bit in the middle. Like, no one on Earth in any way beyond sort of sublime fascination kind of likes that Michael Myers is cursed by a demon to kill Laurie Strode lest the apocalypse occur. It convolutes itself around this eye of the storm that is a guy and a guy with a knife.
Yeah.
I think that does sound like a Pandora's box. Especially because the Chucky TV show is awful.
It is, but so are the last 2 movies. So
fuck Santa Claus.
I'm gonna take you somewhere awful. Let's split
more.
up, gang. I made an Avatar joke to amuse myself.
Ooh.
My favorite horror.
Because the trope is bad.
I've never actually, I think, seen this play out outside of Scooby-Doo.
Literally, I was thinking, like, I think of this, I mostly just think Scooby-Doo.
I almost feel like this is an imagined trope.
Like a dead unicorn trope.
Yeah. Like, they must have stopped doing this in, like... Okay. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre has this. They all, and I think it's very good for that movie, which is probably the most artful slasher flick. They all just keep walking into Murder House, but it's really good somehow. But they're like, that guy didn't come back from Murder House, let's go check it out. And then guess what? They get murdered.
Yeah.
In Tremors, there's a few people who split off on their own, but in Tremors, half the cast survives, including the people who split off on their own.
In Alien, they split.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
It does suck.
I've seen
them.
He does.
Yeah.
Like, I have seen movies where it happens. One's a very bad movie called, like, The Witch's House.
How bad?
They also...
How cheeringly bad.
It's kind of boring.
Horse meme. You know, like, cow hunger. Whatchamacallit, how bad... No, I was going to talk about a different point.
It'd be so funny if the Joker could beatbox. How funny!
Whatchamacallit, they split up in Jason X, but it's also, like, it's immediately proves to be an awful idea, and they don't do it again.
Yeah. And they're, like, somewhat smart about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it unironically happens.
Yeah, why not?
It's not like I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, well, people have to die.
The killer is gonna do it on
their own.
Confused
in a location for 2 hours.
It's a tool to further the plot, and it works.
It's not infusing. Often it is an anger making. Let's get angry. Falling on a tree branch / car misfire.
Whee!
Guys, I get it. You're scared, but get up. Like, the car is not starting. Get out. Start running. Lock yourself. Do something. It's not gonna happen.
I love it, but I think it is. It makes me angry at the character who does it, but I love it. It's the kind of... I don't know how to describe this. I love that it makes me angry. I don't want this to ever end, this trope.
Yeah.
I hate...
There's a character in Resident Blue that makes me feel that way. Like, I love how much I fucking despise this character.
Yeah.
The stuff you love to hate.
Yeah.
I get that.
His name is Felix McScouty.
Sometimes God just isn't on your side.
There's like this one scene in...
No, wait, let me analyze what John said. What do you mean?
You've lived what John said.
No, I am aware. But I'm not tripping and falling.
I don't know. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes life is random and bad, and sometimes that adds
to the
horror. Well, yeah.
Because
I know, but I'm just, like,
get your ass murdered.
There's a car misfire half of this trope on this text. That's like sometimes just bad things will happen. And I don't know, I think there's something there.
There's like this clip I used in, pretty sure, our last tier list video, the one about food. where, like, it's a clip from one of the Friday the 13th movies, and it's this girl, like, failing to start the car. It's not even, like, misfiring. She just keeps, it's
Not
like failing to get
She's
a
dropping the
lawnmower.
keys, and there's a spider on the windshield, and it's really scary.
And it's just like Jason keeps walking at the same pace. He's like unwrapping himself from like some branch that was previously dropped on him. And,
Was that from Freddy vs. Jason?
No, it's older. I think it's
Maybe.
Friday 4, maybe.
Hmm.
Either way,
'Cause I'm pretty sure there's a scene like that in Freddy vs. Jason.
one of the best movies ever made. We're all sure. This is insensing.
What are we?
I feel like maybe it's my fault for positioning it as a Mezone is like this makes me like it less and believe in it less. I hate this, but it's like hilarious. Like when someone is cartoonishly slowly running away from someone they just downed. Like it's not a stupid decision, it's bad luck. It's a I think this should go higher up on why not, if not even into that's a scary.
No, I want to allow it, and that's a scary.
I want to at least above jump scares, maybe, or around there. Above Amity.
Definitely.
This is a
above
weird
Anthony.
tier.
Yeah.
Why not?
I feel like this
it's either
is
way.
okay. Yeah, why not? It's gonna happen anyway. So,
Potential.
yeah, sure, why not?
Let's go to an incensing one.
Okay.
Okay.
Tragic villain.
Ooh.
This is when the guy stabs you really hard, but maybe his parents weren't nice to him. Sorry, that's mean.
Okay. So,
The hillbilly. Oh, I was gonna say something I just remembered. There should be a Dead by Daylight clone where the exit gates are a car that won't start.
It was actually it was in the Friday the 13th game.
Aw.
Yeah. Actually, if you struggle long enough to start the car, you can start it, and then you can run over Jason, which stuns him.
Oh no, I meant that's you have that as the exit gates, and so when you finally get to start, that's when you get to escape.
Yeah. You can just drive out also, but it's also fun to hit him with the car.
Yeah, no, why not? You know, if you can have a cake, why not eat the cake?
Okay.
You can have it on.
I love tragic characters. A lot of my favorite characters in fiction are very, very tragic.
One of my favorite characters in fictions are villains.
I just a lot of times just wish it could have been better. Rob Zombie's Michael Myers is truly a victim of tragedy. And
yes.
I wish so badly he could have had a better life and not be a slasher villain.
I don't think
just,
I'm gonna watch a Halloween movie that is gonna be better than that one.
True.
Like it's better than the original. Sorry.
I agree that you're not going to watch one because you've already seen Halloween 2018. Anyway.
I know.
Whatchamacallit. I guess when it comes to horror movies, the tragic villains make me sadder than I think really makes me enjoy. Here's a horror movie with a very tragic villain. Split.
I'm glad this came up.
Split, so good.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No,
I thought you were going to say
expressing
something.
my enthusiasm. I'm actually saving it for a later.
I was thinking of that when I. Anywho, in Split, it shows you that this is a severe victim of child abuse that has created this being, and I genuinely, I just wish there could have been other ways. I feel the same way about Michael. I feel the same way about Jason. I wish these guys had,
a chance.
And you care for
a chance,
Bubba, who wears people's human skin on his face and kills you with chainsaws?
Bubba, very much Bubba. What did you say, Emily?
I was just saying that I was agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Hey, nice. Good move.
Awesome sauce. Agreement.
Yeah.
You're saying I wish they could have a chance to have lives. Back in the various zone.
Back in the Europe zone, changing server regions again for the meeting of the Chamber of Blood Athens.
Ooh. What was the
I'm hosting now.
Okay. Hey.
Aforementioned are in the US Central, right there amongst Bubba for tragic villainy.
Yeah.
There's some good tragic villains out there. I am with you in that I find it hard to wholeheartedly love the trope. The potentiality of making someone that is not sad seem sad in lieu of actually writing intrigue is always hanging over me and scaring me. And tragic villain specifically is like one of the most overwhelming tropes in the world, even when executed well, right? Because then I just get sad. Rob Zombie's Halloween in its original effort is like
sometimes,
but it's sad.
And sometimes you run the risk of you're so busy feeling sad that you're not scared anymore.
Yeah, like Dead by Daylight. Whenever I'm up against like the hillbilly or the spirit, I'm always just like, oh, what are you doing, guys? Do you want a hug?
You guys gotta change your ways. Go on.
It doesn't make me feel less scared of them because I feel for them, you know?
No, like sometimes you run the risk of that. It's not necessarily a common thing.
The conversation we have at Rob Zombie's Halloween is never nice stabbing, you know?
Yeah.
True, but like, is he less of a proficient killer because he's sad?
It doesn't negate that.
You're distracted from how much of a proficient killer he is, at least.
It's just a very precise kind of movie to make.
I don't know. I think it's good. I like knowing more about my villains.
Like, we know all there is to know about Chucky and Freddy, and they're like pieces of shit to the core.
They're rotten-souled individuals.
Like, I don't think it's a matter of knowing enough. I just think it's like, when I know more, that person's like there is a clear, oh god, this is why you're like this. I no longer... I just can't stop thinking... I feel sad for you. I think, to me, makes it less of a horror thing and more of a character study in tragedy. It's like watching the relationship drama scenes in Better Call Saul.
Maybe
I don't know if I agree with that.
Maybe that's why I'm about to defend this a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I like being sad, for one, so I'm a little biased towards it. But
and like my critique is definitely only in the context of horror, not outside the context of horror.
Yeah. I mean, I think even with horror, though, I think both kinds of villains can work well. I think.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's just a risk.
If you're doing a story about, like, I don't know, what a villain represents or what type of evil brought this villain into this world, then I think that it's fine or even interesting to have a tragic villain. I think sometimes you can do the root of evil is just a shithead, or there is nothing necessarily more deep than, wow, this guy is evil. I think that's fine and works well in different things too, but I don't know. I think tragic villain is very broad, and I think oftentimes I do like characters being explored, and so I like villains being explored in ways such as that. I think a lot of evil is brought on by tragedy. That's true for the world, so it should be true for stories sometimes too.
Personally, horror movies are my comfort movies, and I love to feel things. And I feel like I don't feel scared often, even with horror movies. So I like to feel something else if it comes to it. If it's like the scary of the human experience, I'm okay with that.
And
I'm like the exact opposite. Where like I do like a lot of horror media, but like I have this weird thing where like I prefer horror tropes in non-horror media. Like I so much enjoy. I vastly prefer stuff like a really scary Doctor Who episode to something that's like a straight up horror movie. A lot of the time.
Yeah, Doctor Who is some very scary stuff there.
Or the horrifying bits of Mass Effect over like a straight up horror thing.
Yeah. I guess the root of my agony with tragic villain is that it's so full of feeling it cripples me, which is a cool kind of problem to have, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is very much as scary. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, I would not stand for it to be lower than that.
Go on.
There's a scene in the second season of my favorite anime of all time, Lyrical Anoha, that I'd love to describe as it tears my soul apart in just the right ways.
Oh, you love it when that happens, though.
I get that.
Yeah. It's a very distressing scene, and it rules.
You know, as long as we are talking about Japanese cartoons, Creepy Child Sings does nothing. This is the culmination of popular song turned into scary thing for trailer, or this is how every single goddamn horror trailer of the last 5 years seems to have the same sickly little Victorian girl going, ring around the rosy, I'm gonna kill you.
I never get tired of the version of a pop song thing.
Do they have to sing? Can they, like...
I mean, I feel like the core of this is like ominous, childish thing. Or like
this one is sort of just like kids are creepy, devoid of meaning. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, oh man, there's so many like, looking at the child's drawings, and it's like, this is my imaginary friend, and it's like an actual picture of Baphomet.
Yes, like it's like your mom, your dad, me, and it's like there's fucking stick figures, and one is green, the other one is purple. And like again, like proper stick figures, they don't even have faces. And then it's like, and my best friend, and it's like a perfect recreation of what the actual concept art for the monster of the movie is. It's like, Little Billy.
It's like straight up like a professional grade artist stuff.
What's up with this picture of Ed Gein on your drawing?
So Billy, are we calling a priest, or are we picking up stuff at Hobby Lobby? What are we thinking?
Yeah, like
do I buy you a Cintiq drawing tablet, or do I stock up on holy water? How are we feeling today?
Jurassic World is a very mid movie, but I still remember when I first saw a trailer for it in theaters, and it ended with the soft piano, dun 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 dun, and I went fucking nuts.
I've literally never encountered anybody that likes this. You're the first person I've actually met that's on the side of the piano or more emotional remixes.
I fucking love them.
The slow, scary remixes, to me, they are at best hilarious. At worst, I'm like, oh, just give it a rest.
Yeah, it's like,
I thought it was so fucking cool when the Jurassic World trailer did that.
It's like talking to someone's mom right now.
whatchamacallit, I would say Creepy Children. That one, I think, is much... that would be higher in I like that as a trope, because children are creepy. They're just... They're
just dumb meat.
I mean, yeah, but like, so is
true.
everybody. They are an unfinished human that is in the process of finishing, and like, because of that, they're weird. They're a little fucked up, and using that for horror, it's good, I think.
I think this is more about like when it specifically doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's like, this is an ominous thing.
Like when you
and
fuck
like,
up this trope.
ignore it.
Okay,
It
in that
does
case,
nothing.
yeah, it's like, huh. Is that right, little Billy? Is Freddy coming for me? Thank you.
Thank you. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like fucking skewered. I was like, I told you, I don't fucking know.
Now, to be fair, this one is kind of just specifically, oh, this is the fucked up version of a better trope.
Yeah.
Like, this is what happens when you don't do the trope, right?
I call this one my bias hole. It's where I put it all.
Like, what if they did about
insane plot line in a very obscure Super Smash Brothers like Crime City Mafia live action YouTube series, and I'm trying to find it, like the name of it. I know that Matt Mercer, who plays Ganondorf in the video game Tears of the Kingdom, also played Ganondorf in this weird obscure
That
thing.
was Matt Mercer? Hey,
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
Good job, dude.
Hey,
You
Matt,
got a job.
I know you're listening. Good job.
Good job, buddy.
You did a beautiful
buddy.
job.
Good job.
And they're basically like, I guess I'll spoil this. Cover your ears if you want to watch this, but there's a whole plot where Mewtwo like kidnaps Ness and Lucas and their children, and they're evil, and they're like raised to be like psychopaths, and they have fun killing people.
Damn.
I don't like that.
This is, oh my god, this tangent is fucking ridiculous. I just realized, and I'm so sorry to the camera.
No, it's
I
okay.
It's
This is what we're here for.
there's like a scene. There's a scene where they're like put out in front of Luigi, who is the hero, and they're like kids laughing in the street, and it's supposed to encourage Luigi to keep fighting. And later on, it was revealed that they were planted to be fake kids laughing there, but they're actually evil and love to kill. Yeah, they were plants. It's just
It's like, yeah,
the
but
And
what
they're
creepy child
Ness and
thing.
Lucas for some reason.
Killer children
man's
is
not worth
so obscene and absurd looking.
There's
Children
no-
that want to kill you. I just
gotta watch
it's
all
too funny
14
and
of the
ridiculous.
Children of
and-
the Cornflakes. I love Killer
You
Children.
know
That's
what's
fun.
fucking...
There's 14 of those movies? I only knew about the first one.
There are entirely too many
Oh.
Children of the Corn movies.
Jesus
It's absurd.
I think they like keep
I'm
making
like,
remakes
didn't
of
they
it.
grow up?
You know what they're gonna do?
What are they gonna do?
They're going to get as many as fit of like corn on a cob, and then they're eventually going to give you like a massive pack that's in the shape of a corn cob, and each kernel will be like one of the movies.
It's gonna
That
be
sounds
a
fucking
very
hilarious.
futuristic stuff.
Yeah.
Very futuristic type of movie streaming.
Just
No.
a giant fucking like collection. It's like, buy our collection of all the Children of the Corn movies, and it's like bigger than your house.
Yeah.
While we're talking about
What's
creepy
next?
kids and small things, creepy thing out of sight. I call this also creepy corner. Other people
It's
demand
like-
this, please.
Yes. It's
What-
that specific moment in it's like it's a dark room, but one corner is darker, or like it's the silhouette of a door, and you can't see what's on the other side. It's like a black corridor, and they zoom in as if there was something, and they want you to believe there's something, but most of the time there is nothing.
It's a fake out jump scare usually.
It's kind of a fake out jump scare, but like not even, because like nothing happens after. It just cuts out to a different scene.
It's just a fake out, excuse me.
Yeah.
I adore the inverse, which I guess kind of got truncated into this. Not that's not an issue. I'm just saying why I'm not saying it on its point. Like, one of my favorite things in the original Halloween movie, which is genuinely one of my favorite horror movies, is the consistency with which Michael Myers is just there doing his thing. Like, if you pay attention for him, you can see him so much more often than, like, anybody else in the movie. Like, he's always there in the background, always watching, driving his little car. Yeah.
It's sort of like it makes sure that you can kind of satisfy both sides of the argument. The people who are so afraid of seeing the killer get overexposed, but also so people who are afraid of seeing the killer get underexposed. This is sort of like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I like that part of this trope coin, you know? Of like showing you if you pay attention instead of like you pay attention and there is actually nothing. Another actual good example of you can see it if you pay attention. It's the Haunting of Hill House. You can see ghosts in the background a lot of the time. There's like they're running away. It is, and it's so good. Like they're running away from the house because it's fucking haunted.
That's
and
scary.
You can see, like,
thank you. I am a
it's scary. It's so good. It's like, oh, it's true. It's nice. You get to see it.
Kind of a cool reward for attentiveness, almost.
Yeah. It's still spooky if you don't notice it, but if you notice, like, oh.
I'd put that in. That's a scary. Oh yeah.
Yes, I agree.
There was
I put it higher up in it.
I thought so too. Maybe.
Okay.
What's its cohort? That evil old man is clearly Dracula. Sorry, Dracula.
Sorry, Dracula.
Whatchamacallit, there was something I forgot to say in the Horror Is You. And while this may be needlessly spoiling, I think it was such a cool move that it deserves, like, I want to honorable mention it. The Others? Oh, God.
Yes.
That was so good.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. While we're there, let's talk about Horrible True Form.
I fucking love Horrible True Form.
This is like
even kind of horror, this is like one of my favorite tropes.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
You love the final boss stage, right? Freddy does this really, really well in The Dream Child. I'm pretty sure it literally is.
Yeah,
right there,
that's the one where
they completely kick his ass and they like punch him so hard his shirt flies off like Yakuza. And you see that his terrible nightmare flesh is covered in the faces of all the screaming kids he's been killing the whole series.
It's so good.
Like a great, ravagingly frightful visual for the emotional apex of the story.
There's some really good visuals in there for sure.
Another weird literally nigh but every single Final Fantasy final boss does the Horrible True Form thing.
And then there's those aliens from Invader Zim who take the form of shoes so that you don't have to be scared of their real forms.
It's just good metaphorical imagery. It's just I just think it works. You can do so much with it.
Is it
artistically?
Peak Cinema?
Yeah, I would put in Peak Cinema.
Yeah, that's
at the bottom of Peak Cinema, but in Peak Cinema, yeah.
Yeah, two of the three of the Peak Cinema bits are like video game shoutouts.
Yes.
That's great.
Video games
it
are good.
happens in other things.
It's in the thing.
Resident Evil 2 does the best with Horrible True Form out of goddamn anything. You'll see, I guess.
There's a quote-unquote Horrible True Form in Split.
Alright, if you want to go there.
Listen, Split is a good movie. Is it accurate to the mental illness that it's portraying?
Not even a little.
I'm assuming this is about like D&D type stuff, huh?
Yes. It's DID and it's ridiculous like horror movie DID, but it is, I think, still a very densely explored and realized iteration of itself that plays upon the emotional beats that actually caused that to happen. Though, I like so many horror pieces in the world, it is sort of implicitly ableist.
Yes.
And I am dating someone with DID, so I'm probably not going to like it.
Yeah.
They describe the villain's like mental landscape as like all the, I think it's 26 personalities are in a circle of chairs of varying sizes based on how powerful the grip is on the body. And like there's this one personality that has the power to pick who's controlling the body at any given time, and he's being blackmailed by the other guys inside the head. And then also, while this is going on, the 26th final true personality has been growing to, and I believe the quote of his child personality is to roughly the size of a house on this in this circle of chairs. So like they're all roughly person sized, and then there's one that's house sized.
It's okay. Another thing.
It
It's
sounds
like
like the worst movie in the world from description.
it's not. It's a very good
It's so
movie.
good, but
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it picks pieces
I mean,
of the ID.
It's sort of what you
that
have to
are-
face when you evoke the trope, you know? 'Cause it's a play with the abnormal, free of as much of the emotional lean as is able to be reported.
Yeah, it's like it plays and picks pieces out of what accounts of people with the ID give. You know, people describe
wait.
having.
I forgot the funniest part. And just outside of this circle of chairs, like the Illuminati cabal, there's his mental version of the Shadow Realm, called the Train Yard, which is where if a personality gets sent to the train yard, that personality is dead.
That's not how that works. Even a little bit.
Judicial system in there?
No,
They
I mean,
did, but unfortunately there was a coup d'etat.
It's like people with the ID do describe having an inner world where, like,
Some people, at least. It's, you know, different. Yeah.
yeah, some people do. It's and like there's certain alters that can have the capacity of, for safety of the body reason, like gets another alter fronting or like remove an alter that is fronting. It's doesn't mean that you're evil. Doesn't mean that you develop superpowers.
I've also like to put forward
Yes.
just because I am making fun of the way Split portrays this, I really don't want anybody who could be watching with dissociative identity disorder to think
I think anybody with that could agree that you're making fun of how badly the movie's portraying it.
It's a fantastical movie version of it because it's a horror movie and they have to make it in a way that it's maybe more appealing than not, because like this is not a great way to live. It's not something that like gives you superpowers, you know.
Yeah.
But like it happens also in the good version of Halloween where Michael has some bad tendencies that get fucking worsened by the people that are supposed to be taking care of him in the mental institute.
Yeah.
I was like, you have meds to help with that stuff, and instead you're just letting him get worse and worse and close, get deeper into his own problems alone, locking him in a room. Alone?
Locking him in a room.
It's just like he doesn't get to go outside either. Like, it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
You know?
Zombie Halloween one. There's like, well, Michael, I finally got to convince them to let you go outside, and it's like 8 months into his sentence.
I feel like it's even more than
hospital?
that. I feel like it's even more than that. Because he's already descending into getting worse. Poor kid. Because his primary doctor is an asshole. I'm sorry.
Rob Zombie Halloween does sound like it's at least better than this in a lot of other media at this, because it seems to be actually, understanding the issues can be often the people in charge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, you failed this kid. You do not get the right to say that he was the evil incarnate, because he wasn't. He was a kid that, yes, had issues, but you can, as a fucking psychiatrist, talk to the kid, gain his trust, and slowly understand why and where those issues come from. Because you can kind of gather.
And not talk to him so poorly that he develops magic powers in the sequel.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus. I don't know, I feel like the thing that lets me down the most is that mental illness does not, in fact, give you superpowers, like they say.
Jason, he is a tragic boy. I genuinely do believe that, Jason, he was disabled both physically and mentally. The amount to which it doesn't even matter in the first one that she's like, he was just a boy. Like, he should have been able to have a fun summer camp even if he was disabled. I really love that.
Yeah.
And it makes it...
Sounds like a good movie. I should watch it sometime.
Sadly.
It's not... It has a good point, but it's not a good movie.
We're talking about... It's not about Halloween, Rob Zombie?
No,
that
last part was Friday the 13th. Rob Zombie's
Halloween. I misunderstood. I missed a bit.
Yeah, sorry. Definitely do watch Rob Zombie's Halloween. That's a good one.
Get some popcorn and booze for your sweet tragedy movie. I think... what a cool subject, right? Mental illness as the means with which a person becomes a slasher villain or the antagonistic force in any movie definitely has room to be extraordinarily evocative. So many of the movies that we've literally been naming for consecutive minutes are only possible off the premise that mental illness does actually happen to people, and there are ways that comes out extraordinarily, unfortunately. It'd be almost more a disservice to the concept of trauma to say that it comes out quick and easy in the wash. Get some Dove soap on that. But oh man, when they have experienced tragedy and then they get superpowers and they kill every teenager in the world, it's brutal. I don't think it works for something as enormously profitable as like a horror franchise ongoingly.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering they were on a stream where an RTVS stream where they were talking about autism superpower tropes, and Mike Spagona went, "I fucking wish I had superpowers."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, if I had, I have OCD and autism and like specifically Asperger's, if I had half the thing fictional characters with those like aspects like do, I would be like
Sad.
so many computer jobs under my belt.
You'd be a genius. But inside people are like people.
Pandora's box type stuff. Okay, interesting.
Jesus.
It's hard to
it
touch.
becomes
I
the
get it.
conversation, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're doing this maliciously or ill-informedly, you've made an evil movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. Because
And Pandora's box type stuff turned out to be a great category.
Absolutely.
Shout out to
Interesting category by far.
like it can be good when like it can be really great when it's good, and when it like leans into psychological horror and what repercussions of certain things are. But if you like June said, if you do it bad, you just made an evil movie.
And even if you do it good, people are going to talk about it in a way that's not necessarily conducive to the movie's sales.
Yeah,
Yes.
that, or also they're not gonna get it because maybe they're looking for something else that you are not putting there.
Yeah.
So I feel like Pandora's box fits because like you can't really put it back. You can't make another split.
Luckily, they never
One day
did.
I'm
Obviously,
gonna
guy in a
watch
suit.
One day I'm gonna watch the third movie of that series.
Let's go the exact opposite and do something that's really light and fluffy. Is the obvious guy in a suit.
Okay. I love this. For me, this is peak cinema. Like I
Yeah.
cannot.
Tell me.
Obviously, guy in a suit, or obviously an animatronic, or like it's obvious what practical effect is being used. It's so lovely. It makes my heart warm and fuzzy to see like people putting these things together. Okay, in Alien 1, it is so obvious that is just a guy in a rubber suit. Like they barely ever show you the alien because it is so obvious, even in the brief bits where he is on screen. And like in video game stuff, apart from Mortal Kombat, where the aliens like don't look anything like that guy because they're supposed to look alien. But I just love the like obviously human proportions of the xenomorph in the first one. The like the obviously this is a guy in a suit is incredible. Another special mention, and I know this isn't exactly horror, but it's kind of scary. The Star Trek TOS episode Devil in the Darkness. The Horta, which is an alien that is made of a shag carpet with like some corking on it that's been painted, and a guy just wiggling under it, is like so effective in this is an alien life form, but it's also so lovely that this is like a very simply practically made thing.
It's like that old black and white.
Oh.
Yeah.
That old black and white movie with the skeleton that's just like so clearly just like a high school classroom skeleton on a string.
Oh, that's I referenced that earlier. That's House on Haunted Hill. I love that movie.
I have to be very honest. I don't know how I feel about practical effects.
What?
Oh
my god, that's not where I thought that sentence was going in a million years.
yeah.
Like I'm like a hardcore CG defender because like I am a 3D graphics weirdo. But even I'm like, yeah, practical effects need to come back.
I feel like I don't want to look at bad practical effects.
Fair, I guess. But there's also good practical effects.
Like good practical effects I like. They're like, oh yeah, you can build something so good and looks nice. But I don't know. I think about like what is the name of it? Like Dark Crystal. I hate those things. They look horrible.
Just they're hideous.
Yeah,
they're hideous puppets. That's just they're hideous puppets.
The puppets are
I don't
scary.
know.
I mean,
They're not
puppets are
scary. They're
practical,
just
they
ugly.
exist.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
like that is not that they're like poor in quality. It's just
that they're ugly.
I think maybe puppets were used as an example to prove a broader point.
Right, sorry.
Maybe it's less about the puppets.
Yeah, I feel like there's things that you can do with practical effects, but there's things you just can't. And I don't think like reaching for let's enhance this, it's a bad thing. There's a TV show that has some pretty cool practical effects that I'm like, yeah, all right, that's nice. It's called Evil, and I can stand those. But generally, it's harder for me to be like, practical effects.
To me, the golden age
makeup, like face makeup, like wounds, stuff like that. Then I'm okay with that.
To me, the golden age of effects is the 90s, because that's when CGI was starting to get good enough to actually be usable, but also they still had practical effects for a lot of things. So, because we got to see them working in tandem a lot. We'll see stuff like Inspector Gadget and Jurassic Park.
I just like seeing the artistry of it. I don't know, especially older horror and like all of the usage of puppets and shit and things bursting out of flesh and gross flesh monsters. I like seeing the craftsmanship of
there is like some craftsmanship in 3D stuff as well, just like it's a lot more obfuscated because they're trying to not be obvious with what's going on.
I like seeing a little bit.
They're trying to hide the process in a lot of CG stuff.
The puppet strings.
Which is why when in my 3D stuff, I like to like explain a lot of my process so that it doesn't get hidden as much, because I'm proud of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Be proud of it.
Yes. That's all. I don't know how I feel about practical effects.
I think
yes.
Yeah.
Will it be you or will it be me?
Okay.
Flip the evil coin.
I think to me, I feel peak cinema is appropriate, but I will acknowledge that.
I want to put in peak cinema as like partially as a joke, though.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if peak cinema is like there. I think they can be really good if they are made really well.
Well, that is not obvious.
So,
this isn't practical effects. This is obviously a guy in a suit.
Then I don't know. I don't like obviously guy in a suit. I'm sorry.
Okay. I find it endearing, but beyond that, not to an extreme amount.
It's an interesting position between consumer and producer. I've worked production side a couple of things, not nearly as many as I've liked. But I've always been an aspirational filmmaker. I've been fascinated by the craft and its execution. And oh my god, when it is obvious it's a guy in a suit, and you're like, "Oh, nice, you made a movie. I can see that it's a guy in a suit. Good work making the movie. It's so cute." I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill myself because you looked at the thing that we slavishly put together, and you're like, "Nice image editing. That's cool. You're so endearing and cute." I'm like, this is it. This is actually the one that actually pushes me over the deep end. I'm the Joker now.
That's how I feel every time I make a thumbnail.
If it's low budget but high effort, it's low
budget but high effort's where I live.
Yeah, I like it. Where it's it's endearing because it's like you did what you.
And June said he feels insulted by saying that's endearing.
I know.
Well, no, I
just wanted to be
endearing's the wrong word. Okay. I was trying to clarify the word, but the word was wrong.
You're no, I get you. It's a neurosis, on the other end of the thing. But it's like, oh, dude, nice. That's so cute.
Yeah, no, I fully get you.
It's like that time.
I do agree with
time I asked a girl out and she said she was proud of me for trying.
Yeah, That's the feeling. And that's how I feel like about the obviously guy in a suit. It's like, I don't want to see an obvious guy in a suit.
There's some
No, to
damaging
me,
possibilities.
obvious guy in a suit is generally funny more than anything.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not
Like, I
scared
picture,
about
like,
a guy in a suit.
I picture, like, the thing from the deep.
I'm not scared of it. Yeah, I like... I was viewing it as how much I like the trope, not how scared I am of it.
It is predominantly about like, don't get the wrong idea. But
Yeah.
boy, the
That's
risk
awesome.
factor for a guy in a suit. You know, like the xenomorph is a terrible drooling penis monster from a film that is so much about the primal human condition and the terror of trying to aspire to continue going on, even frightened.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, they hide the suit because it looks like a guy in a suit, and I'm like, fuck, but they...
Yeah.
They need it to scare you, though.
Yeah. And it's like, I love that I can see the guy in a suit. And I was like, yeah, me too. I love that I can see
It's nice that it can be
enjoyed.
enjoyed one way or another.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I love that I don't have to look at it.
It's nice that they made the movie possible to be scary
Yeah.
by hiding it.
It's nice that it was on fucking VHS for the longest time.
Yeah.
Like, I think Alien was like the first time I ever heard anybody express the idea that maybe something's better on VHS.
I wonder if they ever... Do you think the, director's cut version of Alien ever made it to VHS? Because Alien is in a weird point where the revised version is hands down the only one worth watching, but the visual effects should, it lives in the VHS era.
They made special
Somebody's probably
Star Wars
transferred
cuts
it.
about this problem.
Okay.
Where the hell are we putting obviously guy in suit? It's the most divisive of all of them. Somehow.
Yeah.
For me, it's like Mazone.
I think we should put it in Mel
I can't go
Zone.
that low. I will go as low as why not.
I would put it in like lower end. Why not? But like
Lower.
I can't go meh.
It's just that it's a
The thing
failure
is,
of what they
because
were
it's light and
trying to
fluffy.
do. What you like is
Yeah,
their
they
mistake.
don't want.
But you
It's-
do
yeah, it's
like
very-
it, and that is not illegitimate.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's very rare that they want you to know that it's obviously a guy in a suit. You know,
Yeah.
you're going for a very specific type of thing if you think that they want you to know that it's a guy in a suit.
well,
I do also
do
feel
the
bad
do the
going from
Amityville?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think. Like the Amityville stuff is higher out of like liking. I feel like we did use the terms like endearment for that and put it up, and why not? Because it's like, well, it's like mostly trash, but we like it anyway. So
Yeah.
I feel like obviously guy in suit can go up there. Like the
I'm
reasoning
okay.
is
I'm okay.
alright.
Why not? I'm okay with why
I think
not.
it
But I
deserves
can.
why not, because we started at a really enthusiastic peak cinema, and then I somehow argued you down to meh zone. And I'm like, well, there must be a happy concession point here.
I wanted to put in big cinema as a joke the entire time.
Yeah, but
I
Matthew
was
doesn't
never gonna
lie.
accept big
He's like
cinema.
Superman.
Yeah.
I'm putting this above Split Up Gang.
Yeah.
My Novarian music ended, and next up in my shuffle was the Sims 1 buy mode music, and it was so fucking loud because I had the volume up so high to hear the Novarian music.
That is funny.
What is
All right.
next?
This one will be quick and easy.
Plot 2,
Let's
Barada
read this
Nikto.
way out loud. Evil Dead
I'm like,
2
okay.
does this the funniest anything has ever done anything.
Can they also consider this like a mix with this translates into this thing that like is super poetic even in English, even when you translated it?
Yeah.
No. Well, this word could mean sacrifice, but it could also mean bathroom. Nothing like that.
It's like,
It's
wow,
like,
the Babylonians were really prepared for us sexual teens to get killed now.
It's like it's about like a human leather bound, gross book stained with the blood of the innocent. It's like it could mean bathroom instead of human sacrifice by fully disemboweling you while you're
This
still
part has
breathing.
never been fully translated. I'm sorry, that's just where science is at. And then like the killer is just like, oh, the spirit zombie thing
It's like,
is like,
fuck.
oh,
Have any of you guys heard about the fucking girls band cry thing?
Yes.
no,
Yes,
what?
this is about the gays. You'll love it.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
a anime that came out this year called Girls Band Cry, and there's a bit where a character says, ski, this is a kokuhaku, and ski is like, ski could potentially mean like romantic love, but it could also just mean like, and kokuhaku could mean a romantic confession, or it could mean a criminal confession. So there are some people who are like really insistent, like, no, they are explicitly saying that she's in love with the other girl, even though this other word like does not make any fucking sense in the other context.
So
That reminds me so much of this very famous Metal Gear 4chan post that I can't.
Oh, is it the
talk about.
Russian taunt?
Yeah.
To me, it just reminds me of Supernatural. It's like, no, but it's just their friends. It's like, I'm gonna fucking disembowel your mom.
Well, it looks like we have
Sorry.
literally nothing to say, but let's read this way out loud. It's a tangent.
No, I
machine.
have. I do. I promise. I do. Why? It's like, you find a piece of paper. I'm looking at you, all of you, in the eyes. If you like reading shit out loud, why? Why?
I want to be a LucasArts
like
protagonist.
Matthew ruined.
Information.
He does, but I'm like, why? Also, you're gonna like, why do you? No, you like.
I said
reading out
Matthew
loud.
ruined
Please
because you do
continue.
this a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I don't mind as much as Mel.
No, I know. I'm sorry.
Mind as much as the other
Sorry.
person you call who hates it.
It's like you're in a fucking abandoned house. You're in the basement of something. You find this disgusting piece of paper, and you're like, "This is a language that I do not know."
And
I do
I'm
not know
thinking
what
you're
this
gonna
is.
want to see this.
And then you start reading the
In
most
English.
fucking.
like what
Sometimes
you said, Evil Dead, I think, has probably one of the funniest non-fully ironic versions of this trope ever.
Evil Dead 2.
Where, beg your pardon?
Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2, yes. I genuinely always forget that there's that like the first one exists. I'm sorry. Anyway, like Ash is like about to get romantical with his squeeze, and then he's like, I'm gonna put on some music, and he plays the record player that already has a record on it in this house that they're in, and it's immediately this like anthropology professor. I have come back from the Pharaoh's tomb with this cursed book that I believe could mean some very bad things. And then he like fully forgets about the sex, ADHD brain. He's like listening to the record.
Like, I have to find out about this right now.
And then
It's
like
"Ah."
the professor like the next record is him reading it out, and then the next one after that is like a Resident Evil memo. It's like, it was terrible that I read that out loud. Luckily, nobody will ever say these words out loud again.
He's like, I really fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. It was really stupid. Luckily, I'm recording this.
Evil
so
Dead
nobody
2 is such a good
will do
movie.
the same mistake. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, the science man is telling you not to. You are looking with your eyeballs at the book.
No, but like the science guy saying it was the like thing that caused it. The thing of him saying it on the recording.
Yeah, but do you remember when he does it again in the TV show?
Yeah, I mean that's just because Ash is an idiot, and that was like he was drunk high and like 30 years later.
I'm gonna put it down here because it's always a bizarre contrivance. and I've never
Yeah,
been
no, it's
especially
Indeed.
compelled by secret code phrase to activate the movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. It like honestly, the best part is when they did it in Cabin in the Woods, and that's
Yes, I was about to
making
say that.
It's the
fun
funniest movie
of
in the
these
world,
tropes.
dude.
So
Yeah.
it's actually, other than be like a parody movie for like horror movie tropes, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable.
Speaking
Which
of
is
good
surprising.
movies,
Yes.
I love this. The Harbinger, the old guy warning. Texas
So
Chainsaw
you pronounced it
Massacre,
right, but you
Cabin in
spelled
the
it wrong in the
Woods,
thing.
Friday the
I was thinking
13th.
earlier, like, wow, you're a Mass Effect fan. You should know that it's pronounced Harbinger. So why'd you write Harbinger? But you pronounced it right. You just wrote it down wrong.
My apologies. Anyway, I like it when there is a nefarious old guy that tells you you're gonna die and no one cares about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good
like-
one.
Yeah.
Because, like, sometimes it even makes sense. You know, it's like one of the first guys in Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like, hey, don't, like, even before they get to the gas station, or like where the actual evil people are, it's like, don't, like, it's weird here. Don't, like, go around fuck up, because it's probably not a good idea. It's like, it makes sense. You know? Because it's like, hey, how about you don't go in abandoned, isolated places?
I would just like to say, Mel, the Harbinger in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's that the crazy old guy who screams at them in the wheelchair when they get to the truck stop. The guy who tells them you shouldn't be here, like that
It's
is
the same
actually
thing.
Drayton.
This is a
Yeah.
useless clarification. It's the same trope.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like it's not like it. Usually, he says it with an asshole voice, you know. But it's not like saying bullshit. He's like, probably if you go to a dangerous place, dumb kids, you're gonna die.
I like the sort of gravitas it adds to the situation. It puts an element of
Yeah.
local lore into it that I think can spring out into some interesting sort of elaborations on the continuous nature of the problem, or that they knew it was a problem prior, but someone failed someone else, and now we're all failing each other. This is definitely a little stupid, though. This one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're the type of person that likes to watch people die, then it adds a little catharsis.
It's like, oh, they are gonna die.
Like, God, they deserve it a little bit now. They were warned.
They were
Yeah,
warned
it's like-
by a creepy old guy that they wanted to get away from as soon as possible. It's always the creepiest, oldest guy. It's hilarious.
Like,
But it's
I
like,
brought up
wouldn't
the
that
one
put a
from-
little... Oh, go ahead.
I brought up the one from Friday the 13th earlier. He literally, on a bicycle, like dressed in like dusty old waistcoat and top hat, like bicycling past them. No, it's not even bicycling past them. He walks through the camp, like quoting Bible verses at them, telling them they're gonna die, and then gets on his bicycle and rides off, the bicycle being miraculously parked in the camp.
I mean, like, wouldn't that put a little bit of fear in you, though? Like, a little bit. Maybe I should be a smidge cautious. Just a minimal amount. Not like, let's ruin our vacation time because a weird old guy told us that we're gonna die. He might be the weirdo of the town. He might be a drunk person that is like...
Might be pulling a prank on us.
Yeah, it's like, but definitely once you reach the location, and the location perhaps
and the
seems
house is so cheap,
a
and there's
little
a child
nefarious.
singing.
It's like,
It's covered in
maybe.
tree branches, the ground outside.
And it's
Yeah.
like
Busted up car.
Yeah,
the
it's like,
wall is written in blood, get out.
yeah, it's like maybe the guy that actually lives here knows something you don't. Perhaps.
Well, we've gotten into the comedic and serious appeal of the old guy warning bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Where does it go? I feel like I don't know if it's like, oh, that's scary, but like why not?
Definitely a why not for me.
Yeah.
To go above the Amityville situation, because I think it's compelling when you show up. It's like, wow, this person understands the structure of a horror movie. Maybe something will happen here. Except for Friday the 13th, which has this, but is like a ridiculously awful film. Surprise! The very last one. The villain lived. This is when
every Scream movie.
Every goddamn Scream movie, there is always a bit at the end of the Elm Street flicks. So generally, it's like, hey, 30 seconds remains of workable footage. Surprise, there'll be a sequel. He's not dead, even though he should be every time.
Literally in Scream, it is exactly every time. Like that's like it's a tradition of the series is to always end with the reveal that the villain lived.
Yeah, and I'm like,
just so funny because Scream is a series where you didn't have to do that because there's multiple ghost faces.
Yeah,
they still do it.
They love it.
I feel like
I hate it.
Respect that less than what Elm Street does, because like they make up how Freddy didn't die at the beginning of the
dream.
After, you know?
The dream people told me I'd be forever.
There's this really good one after they find his actual skeleton and break his skeleton.
Yeah.
In the next movie, one of the survivors of those events gets a weird premonition to head back to the awful trash yard where his skeleton was burnt, right? And then Freddy is standing there apropos of nothing, and he just goes, "I didn't die," and then they never talk about it ever again.
And
it's
just it.
Up until the sixth one, where it's revealed that it's all these deaths have been lies because the dream people told him he'd be forever. Literal fucking words.
Hunt the dream people and got them like the weird little fishes they are. I hate people.
How do I describe this?
I don't like it.
Funny, but I don't like it. I get it's necessity, but I'm not like...
If it happens earlier in the movie, I tend to like it.
I wouldn't consider it a necessity. Yeah, especially if it's at the end, then I feel like it just upends the plot or natural resolution of what...
Then again, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
What a horror movie.
Go on. I want to hear about Marvel.
What are you talking about? Hank Pym isn't there at the end.
True, actually.
The Friday the 13th remake has the worst of this I've ever seen in my goddamn life. They did not make a sequel to that movie. They never will. Good.
That one has Sam Winchester in it.
Dude, literally... Freddy is dead. They have resolved the emotional crisis. And then at the end of the movie, Freddy is just behind someone and just kills them. And then the movie just immediately ends expositively.
Jesus Christ.
It's such a... I want to throw rocks at this every day.
This is a rock throw.
Oh,
I mean,
it's so
I feel
stupid.
like,
It's such a desperate continuation thing. So often this
like,
is
please,
like, hey kid, I think you've got a hit on your hands. If you end the movie definitively, I'll kill you. You know, classic movie production stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. It's like, please, let me make another, please. But I don't know. I like when Freddy dies, and he dies, and then
fun.
It's crazy how much in the next movie they immediately establish he didn't die. Is like, oh, you're sweet, and then at the end of any movie they're like, he didn't die. I'm like, human resources.
yeah, because like it's making bullshit up later. It's like because it feels concluded, and you don't have to watch the other ones if you don't want to.
Yeah, it's contained in itself. It's its own story.
Something I really like about
nice and wrapped.
Something I
Unless
really-
you know it's a series.
Yes, Emily.
Something I like about Red versus Blue is, up until it finally ended because, Rooster Teeth stopped existing, it was a show that just wouldn't fucking end. But as a consolation, it had a number of jumping off points where it was like, yeah, if you're satisfied with the show you've seen thus far, this is a good time to stop watching. They wrap up all the current plot threads and give you a thing that could be a satisfying ending if you want it to be over. But if you don't want it to be over, you can keep watching. And that's a really cool structure for a show to have.
Yeah, I like that.
I feel like that's put a series down. Seriously.
Yeah.
Even if I don't want to, having the option's very nice.
Yeah, because that's if you want to continue, it's that's a nice concluded arc,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now let's see what else they have. But with the villain surprise, he's not dead at the end. Because if it's not at the end, you know that there's more fight, and that's another thing. The surprise, the ghost face is still there. You didn't kill him. Whatever.
The only time
halfway through the movie, it's okay. I get it. But I spent 2 hours with you, and I spent at least 30 minutes of these 2 hours watching you try to kill this guy. And in the last 2 minutes, you did it. Why are you stopping the progress? You did
I'm cool with rocks. I'm going to ask it at the top of rocks, to state case.
Okay.
Yeah. To state my case, I am going to give you an actual one of these moments that I think is one of the best. Fully okay. Freddy
I
versus
reserve my
Jason.
right to throw rocks at you. That's the stakes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Freddy versus Jason. It ends. Jason is carrying Freddy's severed head into the depths of Camp Crystal Lake's lake. I don't know the name of it.
Crystal Lake.
Thank you.
Crystal Lake.
No, it was a joke.
Yeah, I could tell Matthew was joking.
I'm sorry, I have no faith in him.
Again.
The camera zooms in really close to Freddy, and he no longer is having this I'm dead expression, and then just winks at the camera, and a Looney Tunes style circle tightens around his face.
Yeah.
That's something else though. That's a joke for the audience.
I don't know.
This is
I think
surprise the villain lived 99.9 times. Desperate. It's the same kind of annoying as based on a true story. Just put it.
It's the exception that proves the rule.
Feeling I will remember.
It's the exception that proves the rule.
Cheap tack to the tail of something.
Yeah.
It's fuck you.
It's
or not fucking. Please be invested. See, look, exciting.
The villain is actually not dead. It is when at the end of a Marvel movie, they're and fucking character protagonist will come back in whatever movie they're making next, and you already know.
Remember us for 2
one.
years.
Yeah, but you already know that they are making it. And it also has a different vibe because that's the protagonist. It's the hero. It's the guy you are investing your silly bucks on.
My
the villain
silly
is
dollars.
Your silly dollars. The villain is the guy that you probably, if he dies, you kind of want to see him dead. Because then, if you don't want to see him dead,
of the feeling, the horror premise being so classically the safe expression of things unsafe. It lets you go.
Yeah, it's a nice little box of I can feel the things that are bad and that are good, that are scary here, and then it ends, and I can go back to not feeling outside.
You're supposed to keep being scared and thinking about it so that all the kids in school will go, wow, that was the scariest movie, and more people will go see it.
What if Freddy's coming to get me?
Yeah. I gotta get... What's this Freddy? I gotta tell my parents to let me watch this at the theater.
Sometimes
It'll tell me how to kill him.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. They tell you how to kill him.
Guys,
We did it! We did
the
it!
list.
Oh my god.
And I've posted my Sims 4 toilets list in the live chat.
And it's up in the video a little, but demanding your consent to be up in the video a little. I don't think it'll be a problem. Thanks!
I made it for the video.
Thank you.
Would have been really funny to say no. Power move.
It's like, no, it's a toilet
Foreboding
tier
on
list.
safe space.
Put up a picture of a duck instead.
It's a toilet tier list. It's clearly very private. You cannot put it in public. Come on. Jesus. As if it needed to be said.
Can there be a duck?
Can there be a duck? I can
Sir, I'll pay you $5.
Is it like a rubber duck or the animal? I actually really like
just
those
any
animals.
duck.
Do you ever think about how they're just...
I do really like them.
They're just two colors. They're such an
They are
efficient
different.
design.
Oh my god.
There's orange and white.
He loves it.
Other parts of their body are not so efficient.
That's true. Other parts of their body are labyrinthian and terrible.
They
Yeah.
put all the evolution points into being two colors.
You show a picture of that.
Labyrinthian and terrible. I'm not putting a duck cock in the video. I'm putting a corkscrew
You are not
in the video.
metamized.
That like used to open a
Metamized.
wine bottle. They'll get
At
the
least
idea.
color it pink.
I'll make a graphic that you can use. Don't worry.
We resolved one of the great questions of our era this month. What if the old guy was Dracula? And we decided that's alright. But
That's
overall,
okay.
probably The Exorcist is the best scary movie.
And it's like, no one has ever thought this. That The Exorcist was the scariest
we
movie
figured it
ever.
out. Brand new.
And absolutely nobody, especially not in the 70s.
Yes. And also, can I say, it isn't.
What's the best scary movie?
The Exorcist isn't even the best exorcism movie.
The Pope's Exorcist.
I
was going to say The Last Exorcism, if you don't do the Matthew cut.
if you do the sensible cut.
Yeah.
What is the scariest scary movie? I don't know, but it's not The Exorcist.
Well, that's alright. Either way, we're coming to the end of our time together, at least for this spooky season's edition of Tears
I'll remember
Show.
my toilets.
I will never forget your toilets. They're conveniently ranked and segmented so as to be
Yes,
moralistically
God.
attainable.
But you wanna put it on screen?
Story?
Oh, it's on screen. It's
It's on
been on
screen,
screen for way too long.
It's on screen
People
and
are
on
Oh, is
starting
your
to
recording
develop-
show chat?
on the bottom
We'll
right
edit it
side,
up. Don't
there's
worry,
a
we'll
duck.
use
Yeah.
computer magic.
Yeah.
The magic of
There's
Da
a duck with a
Vinci's
corkscrew.
editing program.
Well, this was fun. I feel like
Yeah.
if I had my light off, maybe it would have been even better, but I didn't think about it. The sun is coming up for me, so I think
guess
there's
spooky
no more
season is
scary.
already over then. Which I say
It's like
to give Matthew a really broad window to edit this video.
Thank you. It's like, oh wow, by my count, almost. Yeah.
And I loved like 2 hours and 55 minutes of it.
That's awesome! Bye, guys. Get your spooky shit, like the ghost.
It's literally
cookies
exactly
at your-
midnight for me.
Dude,
Oh,
that's
yay.
awesome.
Almost.
Hey.
That's
You're
great.
the queen of the terror.
It's the new... Me too.
I'm entering the terror and Mel is
literally
exiting.
nightmare. What are you?
Was in America on the eastern coast.
No, Jesus.
John, you're like the queen of terror.
Can I record it through the scariest hours of the night. It's 6 a.m. now. We started at 3 a.m.
It is. You made it to the next day at Freddy's.
Yay!
Yay!
Anyway, get your spooky shaped cookies at your grocery store. Have pumpkins.
Yes.
And
make sweet, sweet love to your commemorative Dune popcorn bucket.
Is this
maybe
still
don't do that, but like,
Yeah, we're actually closing
I
off.
don't know.
We're
Yeah.
very, very bad at introducing, but also exfiltrating.
Yeah, I don't know. Wave to the wave, guys.
Much like the late
bye-bye
Amelia
to the
Watson.
audience.
I'm kind of like the Amelia Watson of scary. I don't know. Kiss your dad square on the
Are
lips. It never fails.
Don't.
Leave them
That
with
is-
a wish.
God,
I'll smell you
dude.
Spooky
later.
season.
Bye,
Tell somebody
guys.
you
It
love
was
them.
fun.
Tell somebody
No,
you
go
loathe them. Kiss your
go
dad square on the
spook
lips.
someone. Literally, go spook someone to death. Bye.
On the lips.
That's it. Show's over. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.